Scottish football, with the emphasis, of course, on the Scottish scene in the Premiership, Championship, League One and League Two. We'll also keep you up to date with what's happening across the FA Cup in England today as well. I'm Peter Martin, great to have your company. Sit back, enjoy hopefully a nice wee cup of tea and as much opinion and information and chat as we can possibly cram in to 4 hours for you. So lots to talk about, some great games to look forward to across the Premiership, Championship, League One and League Two today as well, and no shortage this week of managers having a dig at each other, players arguing, teams not performing, chairman coming out with statements, and that I think sums up just a week in Scottish football, Ruffy.
Yeah, it certainly does, but you can see where Dundee United are coming from. Even Rankin's come out and had a go at his players, so they're looking for some kind of reaction as far as Dundee United is concerned. I've been there before when things aren't going well and the senior member comes in, tries to give everybody a lift, so it remains to be seen whether it works.
Yep, and this is quite a momentous day on the programme because Macca and Gordon Smith might not be privy to this, but this could be the day when humble pie is delivered in abundance to Ruffy. Is this the day, Ruffy, if Dundee United lose to Hearts, that you finally concede that United are going down to the Championship?
No, not unless you tell me that there aren't enough points available to turn it round. I'm always a great believer in hanging on in there until it's not possible. When it's not possible, I will give in.
I think the fair thing now, Gordon, because you're a fairly sensible guy yourself, you always look at things in a practical way. I think a lot of us now are starting to distance ourselves from the lunacy of Ruffy because he's lost the plot completely.
I think if Dundee United were 29 points behind with 10 games to go, Ruffy would say it's still possible if they win the last 10 games for them to stay up, because he's very determined.
Yep.
But I think it has been dependent on, we were talking about it, such key games have been of late, Peter. The games against the teams that are down there beside them. That game last week was crucial. During the week was to lose at home to Motherwell, when Motherwell just had a terrible performance against Kilmarnock, and then they beat Dundee United 3-0. And by all accounts, they weren't that good. Motherwell on the night, but they won 3-0. That shows you where Dundee United are. The big problem we have today is how Kilmarnock do. Kilmarnock have got a tough game, obviously, at home, but if Kilmarnock turn that around and get the points and Dundee United don't today, then you're looking at the gap, then, becomes about 16 points. You know what I mean? And you're saying, OK, a game in hand, but I just think, if you're looking at, if you're taking it points-wise and the number of games that Dundee United have to win in terms of, and you look at how many they've actually have won this year, you've got to say already at this stage, I don't think it's possible. Yeah,
I'm just looking, Macca. I mean, I like when Gordon points out there that OK, they've got a game in hand. That's OK saying someone's got a game in hand if they're capable of winning that game in hand. But they've taken 25 points from the previous 40 Premier League games.
Yeah, the stats don't lie, as you say, Peter, but I thought they had to win 3 out of 4 games when they're playing against teams round about them. And they won the first one. I can't remember who they played, and then they
beat Kilmarnock.
They beat Kilmarnock, which was, I thought, well, maybe then the one that they should have won against Motherwell, and they get beat. And as you say, Motherwell weren't very good. So, but it's nice to see Rankin coming out and having a go at his teammates, because it's you can blame managers all you want. The manager's got to take some sort of responsibility. But he's got to take some of the blame because it's his systems and all that. But when you go in the park as a player, you want to put it in. If the system's not working, as a player, you try and change that on the pitch. Whether the manager likes it or not, you try and change it to win it if it's not working, and that's why you've got the captains on the pitch.
Yeah,
and it's not happening for Dundee United. I don't think they'll win many more games, to be honest with you. So I think Ruffy's once he's doing the dinner for Dundee United in 2 weeks. Once he gets that out of the way, then he'll say they're down.
I think it's fair to say I can't argue with you on that, Mark. But I'm looking now at Mixu Patalainen, and here's what Mixu had to say about it. There he is. There, it's not over. We don't give up. We just concentrate on getting ready for Saturday. Of course, it's a long road. The remaining games, 13. Here's the next 4: Hearts, Ross County, Aberdeen, and Motherwell. And it looks very, very tough indeed. But apart from probability, Ruffy, are you just hanging on because of the sheer devilment of you? I know you from weeks of old. I mean, when everybody rounds on you, you just stand there defiantly trying to throw right and left hooks.
No, I've been in the game long enough to know that stranger things happen. You know, I know it looks particularly bleak, you know, and I know they've got to win games, but stranger things have happened. And
do you honestly think they can turn it around?
Yeah,
Rafa,
but I think if they were to win their game in hand, they're 10 points behind. I don't think that is a hard act to follow.
Still,
but you've got to win
three
games.
games.
Have you seen a spark, something in there? You've obviously seen something
No, I
because
don't.
you've been
I
watching
just-
them closely, Ruffy. You must have seen a spark that suggested
I
to
just
you.
don't think the teams above them are that confident in going in a fantastic run. I think one of these teams above them will go on a similar run that Dundee United is going on. But it's up to Dundee United. They need to win games.
Who is their game in hand against? Do we know?
You know,
Partick, the
Partick.
Partick, that's all. Well, that's
thing
why
is,
Ruffy's predicting they're going to win.
Last season, I was watching St Mirren, obviously with an interest in it, and St Mirren is the same as Dundee United. They've not done it. There was no fight with St Mirren. I thought if you're going to get relegated, go down with a fight, and they didn't do it. And I can see the similar with Dundee United.
Yeah, well, if you are one of those souls who looks at Ruffy and feels a little bit of sympathy, or maybe you feel as if he's got a point there, at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. We've been putting that call out all week. With no reply of solidarity for Ruffy. Maybe after this break there might be someone out there who's related to him who's going to back him on this point. But nevertheless, there's lots more to come from Ruffy, Gordon Smith and Frank McAvenny next. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Some breaking news that we just established in the break there. If Dundee United win today, Ruffy is going to run up and down the set and the table here, jumping about, shouting Dundee United. So we're going to reinforce the set with steel girders in case this happens. From Dundee United here in the studio to Dundee United on the park. Let's go to Tannadice for what will be a cracker. Craig Turnbull's there for Dundee United against Hearts.
Yeah, the message is loud and clear for those Dundee United players. They have 13 games to redeem their professional reputation. It'll be interesting to see how that message impacts the players today. Will it galvanise them to get 3 points, or will it further dent their fragile confidence, as if fans needed reminding they're 13 points adrift from Kilmarnock in 11th place? And John Rankin certainly didn't hold back in his assessment of his teammates, saying they downed tools in the relegation battle. So perhaps this is a type of game and type of team you would want to avoid when you're looking for a victory. Hearts have went one defeat in the last 16 league games. Of course, they'll be hurting from that cup exit to Hibs in midweek, so it's set up to be an absolute cracker here at Tannadice. It's Dundee United versus Hearts.
Yep, Robbie Neilson desperately hoping his team can bounce back from the knockout in the Scottish Cup against Hibernian. We'll be keeping our eye on that one. We'll also be talking about plastic pitches. We've been running a poll which we will give you the final outcome of just before 3 o'clock. You can go on at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and give us your view on it, and it's fairly straightforward stuff. The poll itself: do you think artificial surfaces should be banned in the top flight in Scottish football? We'll bring you the result of that very shortly. But Kilmarnock on an artificial pitch today, looking forward to a match against Dundee, and Laura Brannan is there.
Yeah, Peter, the talk this week has all been all about the Rugby Park pitch after Martin Waghorn's injury midweek. But it's fresh from the Glasgow Warriors match last night, and despite the rain, there's been no fears of a waterlogged pitch this afternoon. So instead, the attention turns to Lee Clark. The new Killie boss was appointed on Monday, and he has the task of lifting them out of the relegation playoff zone. A win today could see them jump up to 8th in the table, but the last time Dundee visited Ayrshire, well, they hammered Kilmarnock 4-0. And it's not the first time that Killie have suffered big home defeats either. When they're beaten this season, they know all about getting beaten. They're without captain Mark Connolly this afternoon. He's out for the rest of the season, awaiting a hip operation. Stephen Smith is also sidelined ahead of a scan on a similar problem. Darragh Westlake is also out, but Callum Higginbotham returns from a 2-match suspension. Dundee, meanwhile, well, this could be a good afternoon for Kane Hemmings. 18 goals so far this season, and a slight change in formation has seen him push on even more. Last month's Player of the Month, and maybe possibly even an early contender for Player of the Year. Well, let's see how he'll slot in this afternoon. I'll have the team lines soon from Rugby Park for you.
Okay, thank you to Laura. We're going to talk about plastic pitches because Mark Warburton was certainly scathing in his assessment of the artificial surface. He said it had an unforgiving surface. So let's hear what the Rangers manager had to say after losing his key player, Martin Waghorn.
There's no doubt in our mind, from a coaching perspective and a medical perspective, that his injury wouldn't have been of this nature had it not been for the pitch. So Martin Waghorn left that pitch with lacerations and immediate bruising. There's no doubt about that. So when we use the term unforgiving, we meant in terms of the hard aspect of the pitch. So had that been on grass, he wouldn't have had the same nature of injury that he has now. And that's just a simple fact, and that's backed up by a medical team, a very proficient medical team, and by the coaching staff who saw the initial impact of the injury.
So Gordon Smith, Mark Warburton says that they have evidence that suggests that the nature of his injury is down to the surface, and he thinks plastic pitches should be banned in top flight football in Scotland.
I think it'd be correct in respect to the fact that the lacerations idea is correct, because I mean we've played on it. I've played on Astor pitch even recently. There went down on it and my knee got skinned, and I was bleeding my knee. I think that is correct, but in terms of saying I put away with it, I do away with them, I do not agree with that whatsoever. I'm also, like he's saying, in favour of grass. I'd love grass to be the main pitch. And in England, at the top level, they spend fortunes to have grass at the top level. We cannot afford it in Scotland. And you have to say, the game last night at Firhill off, game at Rugby Park's on today, and there was a rugby match on that pitch last night. Now, did you ever remember when Partick Thistle had matches and there was a rugby match on their grass pitch, what the pitch was like right away, even a week later? It was terrible. The AstroTurf pitches, for me, are becoming a very, very good standard. I was at the game on Tuesday. There was a lot of football played on a grass pitch. The game would probably been off, but there wouldn't have been the level of football played on it, albeit a player can be injured on it. But let's be honest, players get injured in grass as well. And Mark, he mentioned Warburton about the fact, he said that the hard surface, and it was a bit like concrete, a playground. I played as a kid, I played in school playground every day of the week for hours on end. And you played on that, and I never felt physically hurt from playing on hard surfaces. So I think the AstroTurf pitches are so good that I do not agree with that. I think we're moving towards it. Unless we change our season and have a summer season and have a long winter shutdown, and then grass would be okay. If we're going to keep playing through the winter, then these pitches, I think, have a place in the game.
Is it different from the one that Hamilton uses? Is Kilmarnock different?
Well, no,
they're all different,
4G,
to be honest.
different the way they're
Yes.
put
Nobody
together.
complains about the one at Hamilton, so why is there a complaint? Just
No, I
because
think-
somebody got injured?
Yeah.
I think they do, Maka, because last year, Ruffy, we were at a game when basically a couple of players picked up an injury on the park, and the managers complained again. But would you like to see it banned in the top flight, in the Premiership?
Well, I think they do that down south, don't they? There's no way they can allow it in the top flight in England. But in saying that, as Gordon says, they spend a lot of money down there. Apparently, it's only 40% grass down there, and the rest is woven into it. And so, I mean, it's
Somebody said to me, somebody said to me it's about just over
That's
1 million,
40%
over £1
grass,
million pounds a year. Each club in the Premiership spends on their pitches.
That was your wages, it's all right.
Exactly. Who can do that in Scotland? Nobody can do that. And
I know
Rangers and
that
Celtic spend a lot of
rent
money.
it out as well, don't they?
Yeah.
They make money. Smaller clubs rent it out, make money, and
so again, do you keep it? Are you in favour of it?
I enjoyed when I played it. There was only when I played down in England, there was only 3: QPR, Luton, and somewhere else. I think, and I enjoyed playing it. I mean, I did enjoy it, but I wouldn't like to play in it every week, Peter. No, if most clubs are going to get artificial grass, then I think no, I don't know if that. I would still like the majority of the clubs to have grass, you know.
Grass is better if it's good, Frank.
Yeah.
But how many times do the pitches stay good a whole season? Not very often.
I know with this weather it doesn't help. I mean, it's not stopped raining for about a year, is it?
Ruffy, are you in favour or do you want it banned?
Well, I think Gordon summed it up. In an ideal world, if all the clubs had money, we would all want grass. I would like to think Hamilton, Kilmarnock would want to play in grass as well, but they don't have the money to do it. All I'm doing is I'm listening to people who are playing on it and listening. And now you've got medical people coming out saying it's not the now, it's in future years, and it's injuries that's still to be proven. But I think we all know the reason they're doing it is because of the finance, and you can't complain with that. Because if they can't afford it, you've got to go down the road that you can afford.
Yeah, here's the poll that we conducted over the course of the last 48 hours. Should artificial surfaces be banned in the top flight of Scottish football? Of the people who replied, 53% said yes, 47% no. It's an ongoing discussion, and again, there are pros and cons. Depending on which camp you're in. If you're a member of a team that sells artificial surfaces, you're right behind it. But there are other people who are actually looking at it. Some people are actually looking at the medical prognosis of the rubber. And whether it can have an effect on you,
there's been
physically.
pros and cons in that with the cancer situation. They were saying that, but there's been experts coming on saying that they've found no trace of it, and there's other ones saying it could be, and it's just
FIFA did tests as well, medical tests, and said, and this is a few years back as well, and they said there was no difference between a best grass pitch and these in terms of passing movement. Yeah. And also in terms of injuries, there was no difference. I mean, there's loads of players from our era are now getting hip operations and different things. They played on grass their whole career, and they'll get problems. So they, to actually say, oh, this might cause problems later in life. Playing sport,
it says a lot of problems for goalkeepers more than, but you'd have been all right. You never been down.
I think the other thing about it is, I mean, it's a good point you make, Frank, because based on what we've been witnessing over the last week, something happened on grass to Ruffy, which has caused them to back Dundee United to the hill. We're going to look at that more in depth. He's not happy, by the way. I can tell when he's not happy. He's got his tongue in between his lips. Let's look at other issues, because, of course, Celtic are taking on Inverness Inverness, the last 5 visits to Celtic Park. Inverness haven't really set the heather on fire. It's been 5 wins for Celtic. Can they cause a little bit of an upset, as they did against Aberdeen earlier in the week? Frank McAvenny, Patrick Roberts, has been hailed as this wonder kid that Celtic have got for 18 months from Manchester City. He's on the bench today for Celtic.
Well, as I said a couple of weeks ago, Peter, if he's rated at 12, 14 million, whatever it is, then you've got to give him a chance. And Ruffy was sticking up and saying it's not right for the boys at Celtic. Well, as the two has agreed, the boys at Celtic are not good enough at the moment because they're not getting them at Champions League. And if this boy's get something different, then I'm all for it. 18 months, bring him up, and not just for Celtic, but highlight. We've not got enough great players, and if he comes up and shows half the ability what we think he has, then it'll be great for Scottish football. So I'm all for him coming up. And we've got that many Celtics players, wingers, not one of them cross the ball. Now, if I was a centre forward, Peter, in today's game, I would be going off my head because they get down the wing and they don't cross it. Jamesy Forrest, when was the last time he got a ball by the first defender? Mackay Stephen, he's the same. Great little trickery. But as a striker, you want the ball in the box. You know, so you can go and challenge a keeper. You can go in and get... When was the last time you seen a header for a striker coming across? I mean, it was the young boy Tierney crossing for Griffiths. And he shouldn't be doing it. The wingers, they've got that many wingers, they should be practising all week to get down and get a ball in the box.
My point would be, Frank, though, that Celtic are a top team. See this boy they're bringing in from, he's had 1 start for Fulham and about 18 substitute appearances. He's never played for Man City. Obviously paid a lot of money for him. Is he going to be the difference between Celtic winning the league and the cup this year and qualifying for Champions League? If he is, fantastic signing. Now, if you look at that and say you need this boy, this 18-year-old,
I don't think you need him to win the league. I don't think so. I think they'll win the league. And
is he going to be a difference in getting Champions League?
We don't know, because if he's got anything about him, because as I say, we've not got players. When was the last time I was speaking to a guy during the week, and I says, and I'd like you to answer it. When was the last time, and not in Celtic, in Scottish football, like you see someone getting a ball and everyone's off their feet? You know, but you just, these kind of players, there used to be every game, every team that had 2 players that when they got the ball, you know, people were up on their feet because knowing something's going to happen. You don't see that now. And if this boy's got anything about him, then I welcome it.
That's what I'm saying, but if he's really special, fine. If not, you're looking at it and going, they're bringing him in here, they've got loads of other players they've been signing anyway, there's loads of players waiting for their chance who are more mature than he is, have played more games. And
but they're not good enough. They're not getting the boys into the Champions League, so they're not getting Celtic in the Champions League.
Why are they signing them then?
Well, exactly. That's another point.
Let me put it to Ruffy then, because Ruffy, the boy doesn't set the transfer target. He obviously has something special that Manchester City see for the future. He's still a young lad. He comes in. Celtic seem to have taken this approach that they're going to try and make their squad really, really heavy. I mean, I think Chris Sutton was quoted in one of the tabloids saying that, you know, Ronnie Deila has signed 23 players, 4 of them maybe get pass marks. The jury's out on this boy. You've got to give him his chance and see what he can do. But Celtic have this scattergun approach at the moment to try and make sure that next season, by hook or by crook, they've got players capable enough of getting them to the Holy Grail, which is the group stage of the Champions League.
But do you think the boys that they're buying is good enough, Ruffy?
Well, in the wage bracket that they're dealing with, they're obviously not, you know, because in the last 2 campaigns they've brought in, whoever's identifying players have had 3 strikers in worth £2 million and they're not there anymore. You know, they've gone, you know, and the best players they have been the 2 defenders who've came on loan by a long shot. But they're going down the route. They have this philosophy of as young players, and they've jumped on the bandwagon with the young boy from Man City, you know, Gordon Sen, unproven. You know, it's okay, might be 10, 12 million pounds in the future.
Someone suggested...
We all thought when Armstrong went to Celtic and Mackay Stephen went to Celtic, they would tear the place apart. You know, it just shows you it doesn't matter how good you are, you still have to go and perform. And it was interesting that the boy Armstrong today was saying that he finds it difficult handling the pressure of playing with Celtic.
Yeah, well, let's look at the...
It's always been there, isn't it?
Let's look at the starting lineup for Celtic against Inverness today. Here you have it. Gordon in goal, that back 4, Lustig, Boyata, Ziachenko and Tierney. The holding midfielders, the regular ones for Ronnie Dylack, is Scott Brown and Nir Beaton. And then you have Mackay, Stephen, Johansson, Armstrong and Griffithson. And Stuart Armstrong already over the last couple of days has admitted that since that £1.8 million move from Dundee United, he's found it difficult to try and live up to maybe the expectations, Gordon.
Yeah, but that's what you've got to deal with. I mean, I don't see why you should find it difficult. Isn't your ambition to go and play for Celtic or Rangers, a big club? Then why should you be nervous? That's what always makes me laugh. It's like a wee bit like people go on the X Factor and they're going up to sing and they go, I'm really nervous. And you think, why are you nervous if you're actually meant to be a good singer and this is what you want to do? Why are you nervous doing it? You should be out there loving it and doing it.
You've got to get it more.
Yeah, exactly. When you go and play with a big club, you actually want to play for the big club. So I don't see why I should be nervous. But I noticed that team, that's what I said before, Peter, that's almost him going back to the team that he thinks, all the other players, that's his safe team, what he thinks is his best team, his best set of players.
Can I put one thing to you, Ruffy, which has been highlighted time and time again with this? John Collins mentioned yesterday that he reckons some players who are not getting a game will move on. I actually am looking at the team and I think they've wasted a season for Scott Allen. I don't know why they bought him. I do not know what they're doing with a player who was Championship Player of the Year last year and could clearly, if he was given a chance, could clearly be the linchpin that they could build that team around for Celtic in the middle of the park.
Yeah, well, you would have to say with that team, we've just flung up there on the screen. You know, Johansson hasn't particularly kicked the ball all year. This would be an ideal opportunity to just put Scott Allen in there. You know, when all the other players are available, all the good, and let's see what he can do. But the boy must be saying to himself, you know, why am I not getting a chance? You know, particularly with Johansson not playing well. This would be an ideal game for him to come in. It's a home game, a game they're expected to win. Brown's back, Beaton's back. Let's see what he can do. We've all saw the ability that he's got, and I'm sure in that Celtic team, I'm sure he would do well.
Johansson is a good player.
Just my opinion. Do you think Celtic need two holding midfield players playing against teams like Dundee United?
It's just their style. That's the style they're adapting because they want to.
Do you think it?
No, they don't. But the thing about it is that's the style that he wants to play, because what he allows them to do then is have 4 attacking players, so that he virtually
in theory,
it's
not working.
4. No, but it should be like 4 strikers to a degree, because Johansson will go and play. And I think Johansson is a good player. I think he's had a bad season. He's not been his best, but I felt in the last game there at Celtic, I thought he was one of the better players. Well,
it's a good point you make, Gordon. He's had a bad season, yet he's persevered and had more appearances than players that he's brought in.
Yes.
I mean, that's the most amazing thing about it. Listen, at the end of the day, he lives or dies by his results. You know, and you know, right to the end of the season, he's going to be under a microscope. From the Celtic against Inverness, let's look at the fixtures in the Premiership that we've got to look forward to over the course of the afternoon. I'm sure the debate over plastic pitches, players that are not being played, will rage on. So Celtic Inverness in the Premiership, of course, last night's Partick Thistle Aberdeen match was postponed. Dundee United against Hearts. Craig Turnbull will keep us up to date there. Laura Brannan is Kilmarnock Dundee. Ross County against Hamilton we will discuss, as well as St Johnstone against Motherwell. That's what you've got to look forward to in the Premiership. Of course, Hibs and Rangers have a battle going on at the top end of the Championship. They play on the Sunday. There are games today that we can look forward to. One of them is, of course, at New St Mirren Park. There's Morton Falkirk, Wraith Rovers Livingston, and St Mirren against Dumbarton. And for us here on the Saturday Football Show, Paisley is our next destination. Derek Clark is there for the Saints against Dumbarton.
Yeah, huge game for both sides, looking to bounce back obviously from defeats sustained last week. St Mirren, from what I hear, played well against Queen of the South last Saturday and were unfortunate to lose by a goal to nil. There certainly appears to be something of a revival going on under the Alex Rae and David Farrell regime, and they'll no doubt have designs, however unlikely it may seem, of grabbing that final playoff spot. They're 7 points adrift at the moment, but if they can string a few results together, who knows where they'll end up. Team-wise for them, they make 3 changes from the side that lost last week. So out goes Alex Cooper, Keith Watson and Stevie Mallon are suspended. In their place comes Agnew, Webster and McAllister, and the big news is that Jim Goodwin makes the bench after a 3-month layoff with an ankle injury. Dumbarton meanwhile will be looking to make it a hat-trick of wins against the Buddies. Their last victory over the St Mirren resulted in the resignation of Ian Murray back in December, and there's also the added incentive here for the Suns this afternoon, knowing that 3 points would see them leapfrog Alex Rae's men. Team-wise for them, Stevie Aitken makes wholesale changes from the side that lost to Morton last week, because out goes Christian Nadi and Gary Fleming. They're suspended. Kevin Colley drops to the bench, and Ewings is replaced by Mark Brown in between the sticks. So a very intriguing clash here at the Paisley 2021 Stadium. Really looking forward to this one. St Mirren against Dumbarton.
Yeah, I'm still taking a bit of time to get used to that. The Paisley 2021 Stadium, Frank.
Doesn't sound right, does it?
Yeah.
Just a question. It's another plastic. It's another ready-made stadium, and St Mirren, they've not the team that's played on it yet, really, because they've not, by any stretch of imagination, done well there. So, we're hoping that Alec will go kick on. But is Alec Miller still there?
No, he's
gone now, is he?
Yeah.
Because when Derek did mention him, I thought he must be there hanging about somewhere. But the two, that's a good double act, as you say. They went up to Dundee. Alec had David Farr up there, and they've done well, and they've kicked on. And I thought they would have beat Queen of South last week. Partly they were unfortunate.
That was a big
Didn't see the game, but they were unfortunate.
Yeah,
apparently.
it was a big game because it was basically a 6-pointer at this stage, because St Mirren were coming into the promotion battle for that 4th spot. So that was a big win for Queen of South, because, as I say, it took them into 4th spot with it because of the other results, and St Mirren just dropped a wee bit of back. There's a little bit of a gap now between them and the 3 above them, but if they were to win again today, it gets them going. Dumbarton are not far behind them too, so Dumbarton will be hoping to get a win today and get closer to St Mirren.
Yeah, it's always great having Mac on the programme. He really has some great catchphrases. Ruffy, he must be there hanging about somewhere. It's a classic. It really is, isn't it? I mean, it's punditry at its absolute best, isn't it?
You know what I meant. He was hanging about when he was my manager. It was my manager. That's all he done.
The places to hang about in Paisley.
He used to hang about my carpets. He goes in the Friday, my car park.
I'm glad you just cleared that up for us, Frank. Okay, so that's how it looks in the Championship. What about League One? Here are the fixtures that we can look forward to this afternoon from League One. Of course, the point there's the Albion Rovers Dennismuir game. If there's rain about in the Central Belt, Albion Rovers can be rest assured they're not playing. Airdrieonians against Stranraer, Brecon City, Dunfermline, Cowdenbeath versus Peterhead, and Ayr United against Forfar Athletic is a 5:15 kickoff. So that's how it looks in League One. What about League Two fixtures for you this afternoon? Arbroath against Queen's Park, Clyde Berwick Rangers, East Fife Stirling Albion, East Stirling against Annan Athletic, and Montrose against Elgin City. So there's your League Two fixtures for you. We'll also be keeping an eye on the FA Cup for you today. Here are the fixtures we can look forward to. The latest from Arsenal against Hull is 0-0. Reading, West Brom, Watford against Leeds, and Bournemouth against Everton is 5:15 kickoff this evening. And on the FA Cup, I just get the feeling, there's a wee suggestion that for Manchester City against Chelsea, Manuel Pellegrini will play a number of fringe players because the Champions League is the priority for him. It's great that Manchester seems to be really at the heart of why the FA Cup has lost its sparkle, Gordon Smith.
Yeah, this definitely is, because Manchester United once pulled out of the Cup because they had a World Club Championship game, didn't they? But I think I don't understand that, because, see, to be honest with you, for me, if I was a fan of Man City, I would say, like, okay, yeah, we want to be in the top division, we want to be in the top 4 to get into the Champions League, but I would like to also win the FA Cup, because it's a trophy.
For everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a trophy. Why not put out a good team and try and win? Because Chelsea aren't in the greatest of form. So why would you not think you could fancy beating Chelsea, your best team? Do you need to rest players? Because I watch, the Spanish football as well. Barcelona don't seem to rest their top players very often.
No.
Every game these guys are all playing, you know what I mean? So why do other teams have to think that resting players is going to be good for them? Yeah,
I mean, Gordon himself, Ruffy, has written himself into the history books. I can tell you it's Arsenal Hull's 0-0 full time on that one, which will bring me to another point we're going to discuss shortly. Gordon was part of FA Cup folklore and history, scored in an FA Cup final as well. I've mentioned that as per the terms of Gordon's contract. But as far as the tournament's concerned, I used to love watching those great games, you know, Manchester United against Liverpool, Arsenal against Manchester United, surely one of the all-time greats as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the history of the English Cup was. Even up here was always at the end of the season, it was always a cup final that you wanted to sit in, tune in and see it. It was just a spectacular day, everything that went with it. And even, you know, if a minnow was to get there, it always made it a fantastic viewing. But you're right, you know, but obviously Champions Leagues came along. But I agree that the amount of players that they've got, they should be able to put a reasonably good team.
It's like if you're a manager. Imagine somebody talks about your career, you're a manager of a club, they say, what did you achieve? And he goes, I was in the top 4 3 times. Would that be better than saying I won the FA Cup?
Yeah. Well, there's even a possibility. I think the FA and the Premier League will discuss the possibility of, if they have 4 places in the Champions League, giving the 4th one
to the FA Cup winners. That's good. That would bring it back then to life, wouldn't it? That is right. Because see what you were saying there, Peter, and Ruffy was right as well. That the game, I remember even when I played in the cup final, I was astonished to find out. I knew it was big, but where it was all around the world. I mean, the FA Cup used to be a game.
It was a big day. Everyone.
It's probably one of the biggest games, world games.
All the years I lived down in England, it was a big day. It didn't matter who was in the final. Everyone, you know, went for a bit of lunch and watched the game.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was a day out. So it's just not anymore.
Yeah.
I suppose, as Ruffy says, the Champions League's took over for everything. Yeah. Everyone just wants the Champions League. I mean, someone says that even international players would rather play in the Champions League than play for their country. And it's, you know, in big tournaments, it's a bit.
I know.
It's a bit. You know, you've got to ask the question if that's true, because it's wrong. I know the Champions League's a great tournament, but I don't know if it'd be the be-all and end-all, you know.
Yeah, and the other point, which we'll probably discuss after the break, which has implications up here in Scotland as well, would you like to see the end of FA Cup replays, Scotland and England? Is there any merit whatsoever in having a replay? We've brought you the Celtic team ahead of the game against Inverness. We'll discuss the Inverness side. We'll be going to Tannadice for the all-important teams for Dundee United against Hearts, as well as Kilmarnock against Dundee as well. And let's not forget Ross County Hamilton and St Johnstone against Motherwell today. We'll bring you the teams from those other Premiership matches, and then we'll get the predictions as well and see how we're faring. I'm so far behind, Ruffy. It's almost at that point where I'm going to concede defeat, but there's still mathematically a chance I could win this. I don't know if you're aware of that, Ruffy.
Yeah, hang on in there.
Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff, Gordon Smith and Frank McAvenny are with me here in the studio. And the great thing about a Saturday afternoon, we've got that time to have a good ding-dong battle with each other. A good argument, disagreements, that's what it's all about. That's what happens when you're friends and you love football. You have a wee bit of banter with each other and then argue as well. And you're still friends at the end of it. I wish my friends were here in the studio with me. So we're going to discuss, should there be FA Cup replays north of the border and south of the border as well. But let's get to Tannadice to get the teams there. Dundee United against Hearts. Craig Turnbull.
Dundee United make 4 changes from the side that lost 3-0 to Motherwell. In comes Durning, Fraser, O'Fair and Forma Cinema Pongal. So out go Dillon, Dixon, Murray and Mackay. So they line up with Kawashima in goal. A back 3 of Donaldson, Durning and Gunning. Across the middle they'll have Spittle, Payton, DeMel, Fraser and Ranking, with O'Fair and Cinema Pongal up front. On the bench for United is Lewis Vick, the substitute goalkeeper, Sean Dillon, Paul Dixon, Kyle Knoll, Ryan Dow, Risku Risky and Henri Agne. For the visitors, well, they make 5 changes from the side that lost 1-0 to Hibs in midweek. In come Ozturk, Oshiniwa, Boabin, Nicholson, and there's a first start for 19-year-old Canadian Dario Zanata. Out go Patterson, Rossi, Jum, Payardo and Wanma. So they go with Alexander in goal. A back 4 of McGee, Ozturk, Augustine and Oshiniwa, Walker, Cowie and Boabin and Nicholson, with Zanata supporting Dowda up front. On the bench for Hearts is Hamilton, Payardo, Jum, Rossi, Riley, Suter and Smith. And the referee for today's game is Kevin Clancy.
Well, for the first time, I've actually just sensed a wee bit of questioning of Robbie Nielsen as a manager, Ruffy, this week, talking about his Derby record after the exit in the Scottish Cup to Hibernian, and big games that they've had and key games like that. Suddenly, for the first time after, 2 seasons of just positivity?
Yeah, well, I think he's fallen into the category of that's how they've been so successful. He's now up there. Or his team's up there, you know, and once you get up there, you're there to be knocked. You know, people start asking questions, they start, you know, questioning your substitutions, you know, particularly when you don't get a win, and selection of team as well. So, yeah, it just means that where they've been and where they are now is a better place to be, and he just comes into the same bracket as everybody else. You're going to get questioned every time you don't win a game.
Yeah, I agree with him. It's just he's built that up. He's built up, and he's got such a good young squad. And as you say, it's been positive for nearly 2 years. But you know, you come into the big league, and then all of a sudden, the big games and the cup ties, you don't win. And then you know, all of a sudden, I don't think the supporters are having it. It's more the media that are having questions. I don't think the supporters are having a go at me. The Hearts supporters, I think they'll be upset, obviously getting beat, especially with Hibs. But I don't think they're questioning the manager. I think they've still got faith in him.
Yeah, so it's just us in the media.
Yeah.
Okay then.
We'll have a pop-up, I don't mind.
Absolutely. I just had to remind you which team you were playing for, Micah.
Yes.
Okay, let's head off then to Rugby Park to get the teams for Kilmarnock against Dundee. Laura Brannan.
Played it safe for his first Kilmarnock lineup. Just the one change for the home team, and that's Stephen Smith dropping out through injury. Kevin McHatty's come in for him at left back. So Kilmarnock lineup: Jamie McDonald in goal, a back 4 of Lee Hodson, Conrad Ballatoni, Stuart Finlay and Kevin McHatty. In front of them it's Craig Slater and Gary Dicker, with a 3 in front of them with Topi Obadiah, Rory McKenzie and Greg Kilty. Josh McGuinness up front. Unchanged for Dundee from their 2-0 win against St Johnstone last weekend. They line up Scott Bain in goals, Paul McGinn in defence, Darren O'Dea, Thomas Conrad, Kevin Holt, Nick Ross, Paul McGowan, Gary Harkins. In front of them, Rory Loy and Greg Stewart, supporting Kane Hemmings up front. On the bench for Kilmarnock, Brennan, Ashcroft, O'Hara, Frizzle, Higginbotham, Carrick and Boyd. And on the bench for Dundee, Mitchell, Exabugerin, Perez, Reverte, Black, Gadzalov, Kerr and Whiten.
Okay, there's the 2 teams for you. Kilmarnock on the artificial surface against Dundee. So Lee Clark, this is his first real chance to make an impression. It's his team now. He's got to try and get the best out of them, albeit he's inherited what Gary Locke left behind, Ruffy.
Yeah, I've been reading all his new what is it? He's all these new things he's going to do at the club. You know, he's going to change all the
initiatives.
He's going to put signs up all over the place. And I remember when I was at Hibs, Tommy Craig came and Tommy did similar. You know, put lots of things up against the wall. You know, motivational stuff and you know just things that made you aware of what was happening at the club. We went on an 8-game unbeaten run.
I don't think it's done you as much good considering you can't read.
But the biggest, I think one of the biggest changes he's made is quite interesting. He's going to change the training. No, he's going to change it.
That would mess him up.
Sleep habits.
No, he's changed the training time to be 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Is that right?
Yeah, because he said that's when we play our matches. He says so we should get used to being physical at that time of day because that's when the matches are. The matches aren't at 10 in the morning when normal training is, and it's quite interesting that could see quite a big change in players' lives as well. The fact that you know they're having to come in and train at that time of day.
Yeah, absolutely, and it always helps when you've got some kind of motivational phrase, something, a catchphrase, a line from a legend that inspires you to play better football or just reach greater heights than maybe your talent takes you to. And who better than Johan Cruyff? We were arguing about it last week. Was it disrespectful of Lionel Messi in that penalty to just side-foot it to Luis Suarez? Cruyff was asked about it this week and he said, football's to have fun, not to get into wars or provocations. And from a master like him and a world-class player, I think that's the perfect way to sum up football this afternoon. Let's have a lot of fun on this programme and bring you as much information as possible. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff, Gordon Smith and Frank McAvenny are the pundits on today's team to take us right through till 6 o'clock. We've got near enough a full card in the Premiership. Partick Thistle against Aberdeen, obviously last night was postponed due to the weather. Albion Rovers has suffered that same fate against Stenhousemuir in League One. We've lost that. Ross County against Hamilton Accies. Incidentally, let me bring you the team. Scott Fox in goal for County. Michael Gardine, Jackson Irvin, Andrew Davies the captain, Alex Schalk, Martin Woods, Richard Foster, Liam Boyce, Jamie Record, Paul Quinn and Ian McShane for Ross County. And the Hamilton Accies side, and I wonder if Macca will sing through the Hamilton Accies side as well. I don't know if you heard him just humming a little tune in the background there. This programme is completely and utterly mental, honestly. Honestly, you couldn't make it up what happens here in this programme. Michael McGovern is the captain of Hamilton Accies, Ziggy Gordon, Anton Krakens, Dougie Emery, Ali Crawford, Gromas Kurtage, Carlton Morris, Darian McKinnon, Darren Lyon, Jesus Garcia Tena and Lucas Taglia Pietra. So that is the starting lineup for Hamilton Accies. We will obviously bring you the St Johnstone Motherwell side shortly. Let's go into the Championship. Can we look at the teams? St Mirren against Dumbarton with Derek Clark.
Yeah, as I mentioned, 3 changes for the Buddies from the side that lost to Queen of the South last week. So out goes Stevie Mallon and Keith Watson. They're suspended. Alex Cooper also omitted. In their place comes Agnew, Webster and McAllister. So they line up Langfield in goals. Back 4, Agnew, Webster, Kelly and Irvin. A midfield of Gallagher, Baird, Quinn and McAllister supporting Shankland and Clarkson up top. On the bench for the Buddies this afternoon, Wilkes, Thompson, Stewart, Gow, Goodwin, Flanagan and Howison. 4 changes for Dumbarton from the side that lost to Morton last week. So out goes Ewings, the goalkeeper. He's replaced by Mark Brown in between the sticks. Kevin Colley drops to the bench while Gary Fleming and Christian Nadi are out injured. So they line up Brown in goals. Back 4 of Buchanan, Barr, Wright and Taggart. A midfield of Saunders, Routledge, Walsh and Docherty and Gallagher supporting Kirkpatrick up top. On the bench for the Suns this afternoon, Ewings, Colley, McCallum, Waters, Hopkins and Hay. The referee for this one, John Beaton.
Okay, that's the teams from St Mirren against Dumbarton as well, and with a bit of luck at the end of the game we'll get a wee chat with Alec Ray. Let's look at the Celtic Inverness team before we bring you St Johnstone Motherwell. There's the Celtic side once again, just in case you missed it. Gordon in goal, Lustig, Boyata, Zviachenko, Tierney, Brown and Beaton in the holding role, Mackay, Stephen, Johansson and Armstrong, with Griffiths up front. 30 goals this season for Lee Griffiths. And there, the Inverness side, Williams, Horner, Warren, Devine and Tremarco, Tansey, Draper, Polworth, Roberts, Vigers and Story is the Inverness side for today. Do you see any shocks there, Ruffy?
No, I don't, but Inverness have picked up from a wee slump they've been on there. They've went to Parkhead before, made it difficult for Celtic. I think the first time Yogi went there, he went with a sort of a gay abandon and ended up getting beat 4 or 5-0. But I think he's now assessed that you can't go there with that approach. You've got to sort of settle yourself. And I think the results that he's had, and that result they had against Aberdeen will be encouraging. So they'll go there, but I think as far as Inverness is concerned, it's the first 15-20 minutes. If they can get through that, then they've got a wee chance. I can't see them winning the game. Interesting, I was just reading there that when the Celtic team was read out, there was lots of boos at Parkhead.
Yeah.
Which is, I was wondering
That'll be
what that would be all about.
It's Johansson, because he got subbed the other night and there were rapturous applause, which is wrong, but I mean, the boys don't have it. I've said it before. If you're not having a good day, take him out the firing line.
Yeah.
You know, and don't keep putting him in. And I just, as you say, Scott Allen, boys are saying, well, why do you buy players like that and not play them?
Yeah. I think, and I'm not his agent by any manner of means. I just think they've wasted a season with a boy that some people would suggest, well, did you just buy him to deny Rangers the chance to have him in their lineup?
Well, someone suggested that to me, not just him, but other players as well. And they're buying these boys for Dundee United. from Inverness just to stop anyone having a challenge against them. And I think that can't be right, because they must see something in the boys that's.
Well, it's certainly not right for the individual. Let's give you the St Johnstone side. It's Manus, Scobie, Anderson, Miller and Davidson, McLean, Witherspoon, Shaughnessy, Fisher, Craig and Thompson. As far as Motherwell are concerned for that match, Ripley, Lang, McManus, Johnson, Lasley, Gomez and Moult, James McFadden starting, Cadden, Hall and McDonald. And suddenly with that deal to the end of the season, Gordon Smith, James McFadden is irregular in the team now under Mark McGee.
Yeah, I mean, he's such an exciting player. I mean, he's obviously looking for people that can actually turn games for them and win games for them, and he comes into that category without doubt. I mean, it is just to the end of the season, but if his fitness levels, that's the only worry you would have, because you can recognise that his ability is there. Ability is tremendous, so it's only down to fitness. So I think that, you know, Motherwell, another 2 or 3 wins, I think will more or less keep them away from the relegation spot. But there's no doubt about it, they're still going to be firmly in the battle to fight against the playoff. Because if you look at it from 4th spot to 2nd bottom, separated by 6 points. I mean, that is a real battle going on there. Nobody's out of it yet.
Yeah. Well, I think Mark's quite happy because the older boys are doing it for him. You know, like Scott McDonald the other night had 2 goals. You know, Faddy's not getting the pace. Pearson's scoring. McManus has been trying to do, you know, keeping it tight at the back, but it's just Faddy's not getting the pace like he was blessed with when he was younger. But he can get the ball and he's comfortable on it, and he can bring other players into it, which is what they need. Mark needs them. Yeah,
well, we're getting we're fast approaching kick-off across the country. So if the goals come in, we will bring it to you. We'll discuss it. We'll offer opinion, and we'll get you interacting with us as well at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter. Give us your thoughts on your team or anything that's annoying you in Scottish football. Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy on your Facebook, and also peterandruffy.com as well. You can give us your thoughts. Our treble for today, lads: Hearts, Ross County and Dunfermline. Now, well, I picked Hearts. Who's gone for Ross County?
I went for Ross County.
Gordon?
Me, Dunfermline, obviously.
Yeah. Quite happy with Dunfermline?
Yeah, I think they're all away from home, obviously, but I think they're in great form. And I just believe that if I'm going to look for somebody who can win, even when they're away from home, the sort of form they're in, the form they're in, that's why I've gone for them. Yeah, well, the predictor that Ruffy and myself have been head-to-head, there's a dramatic twist that's happened over the last week. We've had a couple of head-to-head bets on. One of them, of course, Ruffy said Martin Waghorn would score 40 goals. I'm absolutely gutted for the boy, because I think he would have been, and I think he still will be in the running for Championship Player of the Year, but we always have it a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But I don't think anybody wants to, and I certainly wouldn't like to win a bet on the basis that Martin Waghorn is out, and he looks as if he could be out for minimum 8 weeks, Ruffy, possibly till the end of the season, which I think is a blow that you've denied that kind of striker.
Yeah, that I would like to think that the player, and I spoke about him, and Mako will appreciate it, when you've got a top-class medical team there, they can do wonders. Brian Scott used to do it at Celtic Park, and I know that they're throwing out a figure there of when he's going to be out for it, but I would like to think the boy, with the technology and everything they've got, that it'll be earlier than that. I haven't heard, I don't think he's going for surgery, I don't think there's any operations involved, so it's more about recovery and getting good treatment. So although it might be one of the ones that Rangers have thrown it out there that it could be the end of the season, but if they get him back earlier, that would be the boost for the final run-in.
It's so quick. They've got machines now that brings out the bruising and all that, and it takes weeks off the recovery. So, I mean, I shouldn't. I mean, you're delighted. I know you are. I can see it in your face, but I can see it's one of them.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, a bet's a bet.
To laugh, I know.
a bet's a bet. I mean, I have to. I'm looking at the Waghorn one, and I'm saying to myself, okay, that one's null and void. I'm looking at the John Baird one, and I'm going to be honest about it, Gordon. I mean, I really do like John Baird, but I think I've goosed myself on that one as well, because he's on 16. I bagged him for 25. It's not going to happen, I don't think. He's just stopped scoring.
At the time you did that, Peter, he had scored quite a few goals. He was scoring 2s and 3s over a short period, and you thought he could easily achieve that. But since that time, I think he's scored 2 goals in about 12 games. So strikers do dry up, and then they come onto hot spots.
They come on.
Don't
That's the thing.
It's not they
might
don't
just
score
take
regularly.
an accident to get him a goal again, and on the run. So you could be, but at least your boy's playing. You know, that's the good thing about it.
And of course, we might as well look at the match predictor, because Ruffy is so far ahead. I think the great news about this is there's nothing involved in this. There's no forfeit. There's no meal out anywhere at a lovely restaurant. It's just Ruffy forging ahead. And look at him there with that air of arrogance in the photograph. 210 plays 162. I need snookers. It's as simple as that. And I'm just looking here. Are there enough differences today for one of us to at least make some points back up? And, well, maybe one or two. St Johnstone Motherwell's clearly a difference of opinion, as well as Dundee United against Hearts, Ruffy. But I'm just really talking to you now to give you one moment on the programme where you can, have that, supercilious face, which you now have.
No, I'm just looking at it and just wondering whether I could get 300 points.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. There's a chance for Kilmarnock. Josh McGuinness has just had one cleared off the line by Kevin Holt. What a chance that was early on. And of course Dundee, to be fair to them, Mac have a good record there. They've won in their past 3 visits to Rugby Park.
Is that right? Well, it's one of them. They've got to go there and they've got to be professional. They've got to go and hopefully, they can get down there. Dundee. It was the first game of the season, wasn't it? They beat them 4-0.
Yeah. It was 4-0 at half time.
And it was a horrendous start for Kilmarnock.
Yeah.
We keep talking about it, Paul Hartley and KB, they go there and they've got confidence in their players, they keep raving about it. So, and to be fair to Paul, he stuck with the players, and sometimes it's came good. It's going to be hard to get down there and get a result, I think, today. I really do. I think it's going to be hard.
I admire him for his team
selections. A new
selections.
manager, Ruffy, but,
for his team selections, I think he puts out positive teams, 3 strikers, Harkins in midfield. It's just, if you're a supporter, we're seeing players that you want to see. You want to see goals. Doesn't work for him all the time, but at least he perseveres with it.
And if they get beat, they're getting beat. They're getting out in style, really, because they're putting on a performance.
He went down to watch. He was at the game. I was talking to him, sitting beside him on Tuesday night at Rugby Park. He went down to watch Kilmarnock just to see how they played and how they would change. And so he was watching the game, but I think he was just went away just before the winning goal. I think the biggest problem today is because it's a new manager, and I know Clark he'll establish something into them this week. He'll get into their heads, and we'll just see how it goes. Normally, a new manager comes in and it gives you that little boost into it. So that's the team.
See what happens.
Right now, Gordon is looking good because it's Brecon City 0, Dunfermline 1. Gordon, what a start for the Pars.
Yeah, good start for them. I mean, they have been in good form. I mean, they're top of the league. I can't see anybody else catching Peterhead of the team just now in form too, but I just think Dunfermline are going to force their way towards it and get promotion there, but they'll win the league, I think.
Yeah, Falkingham's got the goal for Dunfermline there, and it's also Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 1. Ruffy, Gus's side, they've been erratic at times, haven't they?
Yeah, the last month or so, they've not been getting the positive results they were getting early on. So any kind of result, particularly a win today, might just get them back on track again. But I don't think they're going to win any of the league now. I think it's playoff for him.
It was amazing. They've only won one of the last 7 or 8 games. And the interesting thing last week, remember we said it, in that division, Peter, the 5 matches that were getting played, it was the 5 top teams against the 5 bottom teams. The top half of the league played the bottom half. And what happened was the only team that lost of those 5 in League 2 was Queen's Park, lost at home 3-0.
Yeah, can I just at this moment, before I get your thoughts on FA Cup replays north and south of the border, Dundee United fans have produced a banner saying "Enough is enough, Thompson out."
Well, I think if you're a Dundee United supporter, you would, and watched everything that's the events that have happened over the last 2 years, there only is one person who's to blame, and that is the decisions that the owner of the club has made. Initially, I think the supporters would agree the Andrew Robertson sale was money too much to turn down. He knows the finances of the club, he knows where they are, and his objective, as most owners is to balance the books. He would see it as And I think at the time when the money that was getting thrown about there, that what they'd brought into the club, everybody was giving them a pat in the back. But as usual, you know, it's not all about money. The supporters pay their money to see what's happening on the park and what players they've got on the park. And at the end of the day, the results have proved that the decisions that he made, he might have cleared all the deficit in the bank and everything.
Is that not good?
Yeah. Well, it is good, but it's not going to be good if you get in a division.
But they're not going down, they're staying up though.
Oh,
so why are they having a vote on one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why are they? That wasn't the question I got asked. I was just giving you I would quite rightly, I think the supporters are out of order. Why don't you hang on?
Well done, Gordon. You hang on. You hang on as every word, and then just nail them there. Magnificent, Gordon Smith. Well done. Yeah. Now FA Cup replays. Maka, you've played them up here and down south as well. Should we be saying goodbye to the FA Cup replay?
I think so. They're complaining there's too many games, Peter. And I think, you know, I listened to a couple of managers down south, and they were saying the beauty of the cup is the little teams, and I think it's great. I think it should be one game. They go to extra time, and they could beat the little teams. Now, because it's all about one-off games. You talk about one-off games. Now, when a little team's playing a big team, if they get a draw and it goes to replay, they've had their chance. And not 9 out of 10, the bigger teams will turn up on it again.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there, because you've not played with a wee team. If you're in a wee team, if you're a wee team, you go to Parkhead in the Scottish Cup time, you battle in and you get a result of one each. Why should you not get a chance to go back to your own park and get the rewards that go with that?
But you know they'll go through it the next round? Is it all about money and it's not just about entertainment?
I'll tell you what it is about, because when I was at the SFA, we had a bad year of weather. There was a lot of snow, games cancelled, and it meant the disruption was unbelievable. Because what happened was replays weren't even getting played before the next round. So what happened was, this is true, Frank, I went and I said, I'm going to make a proposal at the next SFA meeting that we ban replays. And I was told by the president not even to bother, because you'll never get it through, because the clubs won't, as Ruffy says, the clubs won't replace financially. It's all about money, and that's why they were never going to ban it, because they said you would never get it voted through.
Well, when I was at West Ham, I swear that it was the replays that cost us the league, because we get 3 replays against Ipswich with 3. And we had 2 against Man United.
That's why I was trying to change it, Frank. I was trying to change it because of that.
We had to play Saturday, Monday and Wednesday.
Yes.
And to me it was great, but I mean, they're complaining nowadays there's too many games. But you know, I would rather play the games than train. That was just me.
But it is totally money, as Ruffy says.
It became too much. Having all the replays, it was...
Well, it does. And what happened at a time when the clubs... Some of the clubs that were having replays also had European games at that time. There was actually Scottish teams in Europe after Christmas, which was unusual. Now, what happened was because of that basis, it was finding it hard to fit games in, and the programme was quite strenuous because of the European match as well. But I was told that I couldn't get it through. There was no point in even putting it at the AGM, because the other clubs, the vote would go against it, because they won't. As you said, as Ruffy says,
they've got to do something.
Celtic back at their own park.
They've got to do something, because they're complaining there's too many games.
I know.
And let's be honest, the little teams are not filling up their stadiums.
No.
So there's not that kind of...
But they're saying there's going to be 2.
There's a replay.
Yeah.
I just think the cup's all about a one-off game. And in a one-off game, anyone can win. And the little teams can, beat the big teams, if you like. But they'll not do it over 2 games. They'll do it over 1. In 1 game, they've got a chance, get the extra time. And then that's the beauty. I think that's the beauty of the cup.
Yeah.
I think that's what it should be.
It should be, but people vote for money, Frank. They don't vote for what's good about the cup. They vote for money.
Well, I think there are too many games. I think we need to look for entertainment and excitement. We've got to look for ways to get fans out to the game. We always mention on this programme, if you're close to a ground, get out there and enjoy Scottish football. And if you know for a fact that you're going to watch a game and then suddenly at the end of the 90 minutes there's penalty kicks, boy, you'd be excited about that, especially if you were a small team that had a chance to knock a big team out over a penalty kick competition rather than going to another 90 minutes. So, well, it's something to be debated. I know that they're looking at it seriously down south as well. Barcelona are a goal up on Las Palmas. Suarez has scored his 39th goal of the season. He really hasn't settled in there, Ruffy, has he?
No, and that's one of the debate we had a couple of months ago that I'm not saying it was going to happen, but Messi was rumoured to possibly leave, and the club were saying, well, we've got 2 guys who would compensate for him moving. Obviously, they would have to be compensated, but yeah, I think we all saw his worth at Liverpool, the season he had at Liverpool. Put Liverpool where they were, nearly winning the league, and we all saw the next year what the consequences were of him leaving. You know, they just weren't the same side. So, I mean, that's what he brings to any team.
Great to watch. I mean,
so.
he missed the penalty the other night, didn't he?
Unbelievable.
Oh,
I mean, to watch
the football they play.
If you don't enjoy watching Barcelona, then you shouldn't be watching football.
That's
because
right.
It's everything you want about a football team and a football player.
Yeah.
And you look at them. No, I keep saying, Peter, we're talking about enjoyment in football. See, when you see players laughing and having a good time on the pitch, 9 out of 10, that's a good team.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a winning team. And if boys are enjoying themselves, they're enjoying your work.
Do you know why
if you're enjoying your work? It's not a job, though, is it?
Do you know why they were actually laughing about the penalty when Messi played it? Did you hear this? Did you hear the story?
Yeah,
What happened? It was for Neymar.
I know, I heard that.
And Suarez actually ran in between. He knew they were doing it. That was unbelievable. And Neymar actually said the fat boy ran in and put the ball in there.
Fat one scored.
It's a good point, actually. Ruffy, do you enjoy your job?
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, many people walk about laughing. Of course, you're going to be laughing. You're winning 4 and 5 nothing every week.
But you just look at it. You look at the spectators. Everyone's happy because you're watching. I mean, what's wrong? See, if you're a journalist and you're watching Barcelona at home every second week, your job must be like tremendous. Yeah. You know, just to go and watch a team like that, it's a joy, is it not?
And if you're a player and you've just notched a hat trick and you're getting 200 grand a week, why would you not smile?
Absolutely, it's a very good point, Ruffy. I wish all the guys here were on 200 grand.
Yes.
We certainly get
I wouldn't take a drop
more laughs. I wouldn't take a drop. Yeah, absolutely. Where did it all go wrong? Paul Mackay has said as a tweet, thank you very much, Paul. Lads, they say too many games, but what's the bet that during a winter shutdown some of them play friendlies abroad?
Well, that's what they do, and especially Celtic. They go abroad and make money.
You have to say, your winter shutdown, they're also keeping the fitness levels up.
I know.
So they go abroad to train and they'll have some friendlies. So it's normal that you would do that. Because you have, let's be honest, in the summer shutdown, teams play friendlies.
We went to Marbella.
Make that point.
Yeah.
We went to Marbella for a couple of weeks training when it was a shutdown. It was,
Yeah.
You know, it was nice.
Did you not get into the dance-off final that night? Yes. Yeah, what you did, Micah. Listen, I'll tell you.
Complete that, guy.
Let's just take it as that guy. The other thing I was going to say to you as he moves on swiftly is you were talking about, you know, if you were a journalist over in Spain right now, and of course the Peter and Ruffy show is undoubtedly on in Spain as well, where the Spanish pundits are going, it's a disgrace, Las Palmas have equalised against Barcelona. I mean, that's the only thing you can possibly moan about.
Petro and Ruffy show.
Pedro and Ruffy.
It's a clip of the Barcelona boys running back having a laugh.
I know, they're applauding them. They're applauding them because they know what's coming.
And also Kieran Forker, just a letter out there, and we were off air, but nevertheless, he says the FA Cup, they should just play one leg, and I agree with Kieran on that one, Micah.
Yes, I think so. It's just, I'm a great believer in the cup now. I don't know how to do it, Peter, but you've got to get the romance of the cup back and getting little teams beating the big teams. That's what the cup's all about.
Yep, Celtic coming close to the opening goal at Celtic Park, but it's been cleared away there by Gary Warren getting the clearance. That could have been the opening goal for Celtic there. We will keep you up to date with events at Celtic Park. We'll also be in the Championship right now, St Mirren against Dumbarton, Derek Clark.
Yeah, still goalless here. St Mirren 0, Dumbarton 0. It's been pretty uneventful so far. No real goalkeeper been forced into an actual save yet. So uneventful, in fact, I'm having a wee look around to see if Alex Miller is just hanging about, but I can't see him. So it's still St Mirren 0, Dumbarton 0.
Yeah, that's
Derek.
the good thing about. You see, I mentioned to Derek, there's always a great wee one-liner from him when he's out of the game.
He'll be there somewhere.
It's the classic Scottish phrase: if you were from another planet, or from indeed anywhere outside inside Scotland, you would struggle to find it in the dictionary hanging about. But nevertheless, Macca loves that line. Brecon City 1, Dunfermline 1. Thompson with the goal there. So whoever decided to go for Dunfermline has to have a long hard look at himself. That's all I'm saying to you. And Cowdenbeath 0, Peterhead 1, which brings me nicely to, again, he's making a real charge, Jim McInally's side, Peterhead.
Yeah, and they've got all the experience in the world up there. We know they've got a top-class striker, but the team's playing well, and I don't think they'll catch Dunfermline, but I certainly think they'll be in the playoffs and they'll just take it from there.
Yep, and elsewhere there's some interesting and intriguing questions being asked. There's a suggestion down south that, if it doesn't go according to plan today for Bolton, it could be Neil Lennon's last match in charge there. They're playing Queen's Park Rangers today. I think finances dictate whether it's anybody's last match in charge of that club.
Absolutely. I mean, they're in a fair bit of trouble. I mean, they're trying to be taken over. I think there's people who are trying to take over
this weekend.
But the problem is that the actual debt is huge. And I think it's a shame. I think he's had his hands tied behind his back in terms of the job he's been trying to do there. And, he's still got them they're not relegated by any means yet. He's still up there challenging. So I think it's quite tough to actually say that he would be losing his job. But maybe the people who are taking over have already got plans. If that takeover happens, it's like a friendship thing in a lot of ways. They might have, because it's an ex-player, I think, that's trying to get taken over, isn't it?
Dean Holdsworth.
Is that what it is? Dean Holdsworth, yeah. So he'll have obviously contacts that he'll want to bring in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was just the wrong choice of club, and I think I can understand why he chose Bolton, Ruffy, because he'd waited quite a considerable amount of time after the Celtic job when he decided to leave Celtic. There was a wee suggestion that he was going to be going to Norwich. That didn't materialise.
Yeah, I don't think Neil's daft enough to have went down there without some promises being made to him. I mean, Bolton is a beautiful wee stadium. They're well supported. And he would go down there with the belief that he could take them back to where they were. And obviously when he went there, he was promised a few things that obviously never materialised because of the financial state that they were in. And you're right, as a manager, you can't do anything about that. All you can do is try and win games. But they are, reading again of the sorry state, they've sold their training ground, they've sold the car park, they've just about sold everything. So it looks as if that is a done deal. They were obviously conditions for the new people coming in, so yeah, it's a worrying time for them.
Well, down south as well, we will undoubtedly be talking about it the closer it gets to the end of the season, but the rumours just won't go away that Jose Mourinho's arrival at Old Trafford is imminent, Gordon Smith. Louis van Gaal, I thought the best tweet of the midweek games, the little video from the Manchester United fans when they were losing 1 to Midland, and the United fans are singing that old Four Seasons classic, Oh What a Night, but they'd obviously changed the words, and it was Oh What a Night, freezing cold on a Thursday night, and we're playing, and I'll paraphrase here, not very good.
Not very well.
What a feeling, what a night.
Right.
And I think that summed it up.
They must have planned it. They must have planned it in advance. Then, if they're singing that, they probably had a realisation that was going to happen, because that was a shocking scoreline. Because I mean, we talked before.
They've not played in 2 months. I mean,
exactly. They've not been playing. The difference in player that Manchester United have and the costs. I mean, there's a huge gulf between the two clubs, and for them to lose that game, I felt was shocking. If anything, I think that determined whether his time was up. That was it for me.
Yeah, I don't know, but you've got to question the big clubs down there, that, especially Man United, whether they want to be in the Europa League.
Yeah,
it's whether they want to. And it looked as if, but
it gets you into the Champions League if you win it.
Well, I know you can't. Well, they reckon that's the only way they're going to get in, but you're talking about Carrick, experienced boys, Carrick and Mata, not passing the ball, and Mata, the tackle that Mata, that was embarrassing. The tackle he had, the big boy couldn't control the ball. It bounced off his shins a couple of times. Mata could have cleared that. He didn't, and the boy just swung a leg at it in the bottom corner. And you're thinking, it's just a comedy of errors, and it's not really what you expect, from a team like Man United.
Well, they're playing a very precarious game, Ruffy. I think a lot of people are starting to lose faith in the decisions of the chief executive on this one as well, because he's dithering. If they lose Mourinho, and then they have to look for a second choice on this one. Again, the general consensus from Manchester United fans, and I don't like to hear this about a manager, but it's just gathering pace. He's dead man walking there.
Yeah, he is, but obviously he's a manager with very deep principles. I can't I can't see him, you know. I can't see him walking away. I can't see him walking away like this cup game that's coming up, a defeat there. To go back into a press conference and see the questions. I mean, even the press now are belittling him with the questions that they're asking him. And I think he's the kind of guy who's been it, done it, seen it, would say at some stage, I don't need this. You know, I just don't need this. You know, I'll just go back home and I'll start again.
I honestly don't think so.
I think these guys think. I think these guys think that they can pick up a job wherever. And it suits them. You saw Dick Advocat doing it, just travelling about, picking up countries here and doing this and doing that. I think you look at his mannerisms in the interviews when he sits there. You know, I don't think he would want to be sacked.
I think
I don't know if he wants to get sacked. If he gets sacked, he gets paid off. If he walks away, he gets nothing.
If he walks, he's going to make some kind of arrangement. He's not just going to walk.
There'll be an arrangement.
All I'm saying is he would go to them and say, "Hey, had enough."
I don't think he's going to go for another job though, Ruffy. I get the feeling that this was his last job
think so.
Before he's committed to his wife. And you know, I think that's certainly from reading into some of the press conferences he's conducted and interviews. I think that's the suggestion on it. I'll tell you what a save! It's Neil Alexander, great one-handed save there from Dundee United's O'Fair, almost giving the home side the lead, but a brilliant save. Just look at that in monitor 32, Ruffy. The replay, how he gets down to make that save, it's just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, and the ball just trickles along the line, and there was no Dundee United player to put it in, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, well, no laughing matter. I don't know why you're laughing. You need Dundee United to score today, Ruffy.
I need Dundee United big time. It's the only result I'm looking at today.
It's amazing we're so far into the games. I mean, you look at the no goals in Scotland, the two top divisions, this far in. You always think, what were the chances of that game's going? You got 5 Premier League games and 3 Championship games, not a goal yet.
Yeah, well, I thought 25 minutes. I thought Celtic would have been at least one up by now.
Yeah,
I really did, but. I
don't
know, it's
maybe because a lot of the games are so much at stake for clubs. They're pretty tight.
Yeah.
But another point I was going to make
as well.
Another point I was going to make is Albion Rovers a grass pitch.
No.
Is it AstroTurf?
No. It's a grass pitch, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, it's a grass pitch.
Albion Rovers is grass, and it's in the same. What would it be? A mile from Airdrie's pitch, and Airdrie's game's on.
Yeah.
And therefore, there's another argument. So for the people who are voting for AstroTurf or grass, there's another part of the argument there. Albion Rovers game off, Airdrie's game on.
I don't think anybody's arguing over the lower leagues, Ruffy. I think they're quite happy for lower leagues to try and make revenue elsewhere.
Yeah, I can see a part of the Rangers manager's point, you know, that let's just switch it. Let's just switch it to the English Premiership and say every ground had a beautiful grass park, and say West Ham had AstroTurf. That league would be looked upon. Everybody would go, well, why have they got AstroTurf?
Wouldn't happen. I mean,
I know it wouldn't happen. I'm just giving you what people will be looking at us and seeing our pitches, and then looking at maybe Hamilton, Kilmarnock, and going, that looks a wee bit Mickey Mouse. That.
Well, it's like Bournemouth.
But we know why they're doing it. That's the bottom line. They're doing it because
Bournemouth got promoted. The first thing they had to do was fix their stadium. There's a lot of sanctions that if they don't do it, they don't get in.
Yeah.
Simple as that, which is not a bad thing.
But you can't say you're not getting in.
Well, they did. They weren't
up here, we're not in the situation where you can't say no. Hamilton Accies, you're away down a division because we don't like it. You can't.
Yeah, but Ruffy, just out of curiosity, I don't mean to steal your thunder on this, but we have actually. On previous occasions, actually done that in Scottish football. You can't get in because you need a 6,000-seater stadium. No, you can't get in because you need a 10,000. No, you can't get in. Oh, you'll need to go and build a stand. Yes, we know we've put you in tremendous financial difficulty, but that's the rules. And then 2 years later, we're actually going to change those rules because they don't really work.
Despite the fact you've been made bankrupt because of it.
Absolutely. And by the way, because of that, you're not going to be allowed into the division, although you've won your division, so you're not allowed in. Believe me, I could go back on 1,000,001 situations where the lunacy of decision making in this country has cost clubs lots of money.
But fortunately, the AstroTurf boys have got the backing of FIFA. You know, they've come up with the restrictions that they have to live in. So, I mean, they would fall back on that.
Well, FIFA allow it at the highest level. allowed to international level, even AstroTurf pitches.
Yep. Listen, we're going to talk about. We'll look ahead to the games tomorrow as well in the Championship. But let's give you the latest scores in the lower leagues. The reason for that is it's the only place where there are goals. Scottish League 1, Brecon City 1, Dunfermline 1, Cowdenbeath 0, Peterhead 1. And in Scottish League 2, Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 1. It is quite alarming that we're in a situation where we are crying out for a goal. We're looking for some kind of goal to talk about. An interesting suggestion that's reared its head in the last couple of days. You know, they're talking about potential bosses. I hate to talk about him because he's in a job, but they were talking about the suggestion that we brought up last week on the programme, that I think Celtic, you know, as a board, were looking to anyone who could come in and replace Ronnie Deila until the end of the season if there are results that continue in the vein of the last month, Gordon. And Alan Stubbs was a name that just wouldn't go away, but I'm led to believe that the preferred candidate, if Ronnie Deila should not be there in the summer, is Michael O'Neill.
Yeah, well, I think that Michael O'Neill has established himself. There's no doubt about that. I mean, fantastic to get Northern Ireland to the European Championship, even to win their group. He's turned that country around. They hadn't been doing anything for a long, long time. So I think he's definitely a strong candidate. Alan Stubbs, I thought, would be a stronger candidate because he's doing it at club level and he's taking Hibs, and that's always a difference between somebody international and club. And I think that from that respect, I think that Alan Stubbs, for me, being an ex-player as well. I think John Bair's just scored, Ruffy.
This is a perfect example of writing somebody off. These things can happen.
There you go. Can we update the John Baird scoreometer at this moment, because is
16.
Is that 17?
17 is it? 16, I think.
Are you sure? I think it's 17. I'm going to check. I think it's 17. Because
anyway,
that would mean that I'm only 8 away.
I'm afraid it's 16.
He might score the whole 8 today.
You know what? I genuinely think it's 17, because I seem to remember him being on 16 after we put this bet on, Ruffy. I'm going to have to check. Look at everybody frantically checking.
I'll tell you now, I think it's 16. I'm going to check.
I think it's 16. Well, that would only leave 9, Ruffy, which is certainly well within
but
Baird.
you've given them up.
Yeah, but but he's back. He's back. There's something in the air today. It's a thunderclap.
We said at the beginning of the programme, all you need is one goal, and then strikers do it, they go in a row. So here's,
you know what I missed about you, Maka, last week? And it's just come back to haunt me. One of your old teammates, whenever I worked with him at Radio Clyde, if ever I crashed over the top of him, Davy would just look at me and give me a cold stare, and I never did it again. But you're magnificent.
I've got to hear Peter. I've got to hear
Peter.
Peter. 16 it is now.
16.
That's his 16th goal.
Yeah, I'm happy with 16. I think he could. There it is. 16. John Baird, the goal count, Ruffy. 16. 9 to go. Never had any doubt. I've always had faith in the boy. 9 goals. That would be sensational. 9 to go. And you know what? I think I would post the same photograph.
There must be, I think he must have about 12 games including today, maybe 11 after today, but 12 I think in total to play. So 9 goals in 12 games is possible.
Today,
Reserves, 5-a-side games. There's plenty of time.
Cowdenbeath have equalised against Peterhead too, so the two top teams are now drawing.
Absolutely. Who cares, Gordon? We're talking about
Just for the public. All the Cowdenbeath fans out there watching.
get on the programme.
Cowdenbeath 1, Peterhead 1. I apologise to the Cowdenbeath fans. But yeah, that would be fantastic. I'll tell you one thing that I'm going to mention to you, Ruffy, and it won't go away. And I think this is something that's really starting to annoy Celtic fans at the game against Inverness Carry Thistle. The Celtic fans have been booing and reacting to a bit of sloppy play from Dedrick Boyata. I mean, he can score a goal, but his job is defending at the back. And I get the feeling, and time again when I see the boy play, he takes chances. He'll play a ball across the back line, which is the cardinal sin, at times. Defenders just, should not do it. But he's been sloppy with a couple of bits of defending right now that I'm looking at. The Celtic fans are not happy with it.
Well, Celtic fans all season, all they've seen is their defence chopping and changing, centre-halves coming in and then out through injuries, and then somebody else, particularly two central centre-halves. You know, there's just been an uncertainty there all the way through the year. And the new boy that came in looks great with the ball at his feet. He looks very composed and everything. But they don't have an out-and-out centre-half who's just going to win the ball.
I think the boy that's injured. More a centre-half at the boy that's injured.
But again, you know, when you're a spectator and when you're like Celtic, you go there and you want to see goals. You want to see. I agree with Macca 100%. I don't understand why they don't play two strikers. I mean, he got to Aberdeen, things aren't going particularly well, and all of a sudden he throws two strikers on, you know, to try and win the game. You know, why not put two strikers on at the beginning? If it's not working after 35 minutes, change it.
I made a point, we were talking about Celtic. I mean, Celtic's never, I mean, even you go back through history, they've never had some of the greatest defenders in the world. But what they've always done, especially at Celtic Park, they've played two up front, they've had wingers, they've had people going forward, and you play the game in their half. And it takes the pressure off your defence. When you're sitting there, the defence is not, I mean, you know, you've always had defenders that will go and win it. I mean, apart from Albi and Big Bobo, the two of them were complement each other, but they've not been right through.
But a right good striker would be able to drop back into midfield if needed.
Of course,
and help, you know. And when you've got possession of the ball, he becomes a striker. He becomes. You look at Dundee, who we've already discussed, they're playing Loy, they're playing Hemmond, and they're playing Stewart. You know, and that's away from home. You know, all credit to them.
Yeah, well, I have to tell you, by the way, a brilliant bit of play there by Dundee United. Spittle down the right-hand side. It's a great ball in, Macca. And there's DeMille with the header, and it's a good save from Alexander.
I know, but he should have scored. He should have scored. It was a great save, but, you know, this is what could keep them in the Premier League if they score goals like that. So
I think the good thing about the programme as well is no matter when Gordon or yourself describe this piece of action, Ruffy always laughs. He always laughs. There's no gagging. I mean, it's just a fantastic save. If it's a good save, it's a good save.
It's a great save. He doesn't like you saying good save because he was a goalkeeper. You know, he thinks he's got to talk about the saves.
Leighton McIntosh. Leighton McIntosh has scored from Peterhead, Ruffy. So they're 2-1 up in Cowdenbeath. That's going one way, then the other.
Yeah, it certainly is. I thought Colin Nish he brought in a couple of players. That boy had just scored for Cowdenbeath, the young boy at Partick Thistle, the young boy McDade. He's got him in loan, and he's brought in another couple of. So they looked as if they were starting to win games. I think Peterhead are on a wee run just now, and I think they should win that one.
Yeah, the other thing about Jim McInally's side, Gordon Smith, is they were happy knowing that they're going to be in the playoffs at the end of the season. Yeah,
I mean, a tremendous. I mean, they had a bad start. They were losing quite a few games. I was quite surprised at that. But then all of a sudden it just come good, and I think I think it's about 8 points of a gap to Dunfermline. I just think Dunfermline, the consistency they've had, they'll beat most teams. I don't think Peterhead can quite catch them. They might be, obviously they'll have head-to-heads, which could make a difference, but I think that Peterhead certainly will be up there, and if they keep this form they've got just now, then they'll be the team I think that will be the biggest danger to all the other teams who are in the playoff position, because Peterhead have been the most consistent over a period now. So I think that they will come up with Dunfermline.
Yeah, another thing about it, Macca, is Rory McAllister seems to hog all the headlines, but McIntosh has got 12 for the season now.
Yeah, well, you score 12 goals, you know, you're wanting more, and the confidence must be high. And, you know, I don't know the boy personally, but you know, when I played, I didn't care about, you know, if your partner gets the headlines, you just go about your business and do it for the team and do it quietly, and that's what it should be like.
I'm going to pay you the ultimate compliment, Macca. I think you, and I think West Ham fans would agree as well. You were one of those guys who was the ultimate team player. Although you would, you know, graft non-stop as an individual.
Well, you know, I was the same as I was fortunate when I played with I had Andy Walker when I was at Celtic, and we all know if Andy went through and goal, there's no way he's passing. But as I went through, the keeper came out, I'd get Andy, and I'd done the same with Tony Cott. You know, strikers, they're out and out strikers, they're not going to pass. You know, and it's just what me. I think McCoy's was one. He's a out and out striker. They boys don't pass in front of goal. Whereas I was more a team player. As long as we get the result, that was all that mattered to me.
Yeah, and
I did like scoring, don't get me wrong, but you know, it's...
Well, I mean, the good thing about it, Macca, is that's the headline for us. Macca says McCoist was greedy. It's as simple as that. Louis Moult, see how I worked that, Ruffy? You can twist a story any way you want in journalism.
Still not talking to Andy Walker either.
Exactly. Louis Moult has scored for Motherwell, Ruffy. They're a goal up in St Johnstone. This revival continues.
Well, St Johnstone's one of these teams I'm talking about. No wins in 10. You know, this could be another one. You You know, they're on free fall, but fortunately for them, they've got 32 points. Again, it's just dramatic how that's a Johnson team that we always thought were a hard team to beat, and then they lose a Halloran. I think when you lose somebody like a Halloran, McLean's, you know, chances start drying up, and it's just a catalogue of a good player leaving a club. And obviously Mackay's out as well, you know, two big players.
Even when he was there, but they were on a bad run. They've lost 4 of the last 5 games, St Johnstone. But the fact is that I remember it was at last week, Peter, I was quite surprised when he left him out the team, Mark McGee. And I said that, I thought him and McDonald, I felt, were forming a very good relationship. And yet he put him on the bench. He brought him on at half time though. I think it didn't turn that around. They ended up still losing the game, but there he is today, scoring a goal. He's a real threat. He's a good striker.
Yep. Linton has scored for Clyde. They were 1-0 up. Now they're 2-0 up against Berwick. So again, I think you know, when I look at Barry Ferguson at Clyde, they were going on a good run there, Ruffy. I thought they were going to be in the playoffs, and then they just dropped out of it completely. Yeah,
I think that's the way it is in these leagues, you know, and nobody's consistent at all. He brought the big boy Gemo for Albion Rovers thinking he was going to score goals for them. He has just scored. Well
done, Ruffy. It's the first time in the programme you've ever reacted to a producer's information, because the producer thought that it was just going into a great big giant vacuum and nothing was happening in your head.
That was a producer.
But that's fantastic. Well done.
But I'll credit to them, and they'll be hoping they can get back on the rails.
Well, they've had 4 defeats in a row, Clyde. You're right what you said, Peter. A bad run they were on, and you say dropped right out of that top 4. And so they need to start getting wins again. And I mean, getting 2-0 up now would be a big help to them. But that's Wraith now in front as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Wraith at 1.
I told you when I seen Barry, he was going and looking at colleges, universities to get the kids to do all this, you know, the stats thing and all that, and doing it for nothing as a, you know, getting the university to do it. So it's one of the theories or whatever, and getting them to work for the club and doing it for nothing. I thought, yeah, what a good idea, because it's great for the college or university send the people there to give all these datas and how many, you know, runs and all that kind of stuff. What they do in every club now, Peter. It never happened when I was playing.
No, it's strong now though, isn't it?
To be fair, Mark, if someone was putting a tracker on your runs, I think you'd have been well impressed with your work rate. To be honest, you're underselling yourself.
I know. Somebody says that, Chase. An empty packet across the
It's the best compliment I could ever pay you. When I'm talking to younger people and they say to me, you know, what's you know, a lot of people say to me, what's Macca famous for? Did he play football? And I'd say yes, but the best compliment I could pay you is you would chase an empty bag on a windy day, and that sums it up.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been a monitor they'd be doing if it had been any manager. It would have been a tag.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, boys, just to let you know as well, I'm back in front with my Cooping team. How are you two doing?
No, we're not doing well at all. Well, we're not. We're not the end of the world yet, but
both drawing. You're both drawing, and having fun.
Listen, you'll never believe this, but obviously I like to react to Twitter and people. There are 3 Japanese journalists at the Dundee United game, because the great thing about the goalkeeper. I mean, do you remember when Nakamura was at Celtic?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was actually about 3 or 4 Japanese journalists who just followed him around. I'll tell you
lived over here because of it. That's right.
But the other great thing about the journalists who were there. You know, Shinsuke Nakamura would actually chat to them and give them little lines to take back home to their country. And I think when we're talking about how we promote this game and how we try and get it out to the audience and make it more appealing, is all to do with marketing. It's all to do with the relationship between the players, the managers, the club, and the media. You know, American football, they have no problem speaking to the media. They have no problem, you know, answering difficult questions. Whereas here in Scotland, and I think in Great Britain in general, we're looked upon as the enemy.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story, Peter. I remember, who was that one that was at Arsenal, and he went on to play in Italy after that, but he was at Arsenal, a Japanese player. And he was an international player, but he wasn't getting a game. Arsene Wenger wasn't playing him, and he said there was Japanese journalists here, and every Friday they used to say to Arsene Wenger, is whatever the player was, is he playing tomorrow? He asked every Friday, Arsene Wenger would say, no. Right? But you know what, the guy from Arsenal told me that they were getting £2 million a year for the reserve games being shown in Japanese television.
Incredible.
Arsenal got £2 million for that. That was
Boy
more than teams in Scotland
got
were
a first
getting.
team game. He won the billion.
But they were showing the reserve games in Japanese foot on TV,
which is incredible. I mean, I cannot believe that clubs like Celtic and Dundee United haven't signed 12 Japanese midfielders and then sold the rights out to them. But I can tell you, Las Palmas won Barcelona 2, so we keep you up to date with Spanish football, everything as well. But as Gordon mentioned there, Brecon 1, Dunfermline 2. A lot of tweets coming in at Peter and Ruffy. We will read out as many as we possibly can throughout the programme, as well as bringing you the goals. There's not too many of them, may I add, in the Scottish divisions at the moment. But at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy, and of course you can go to peterandruffy.com and give us your thoughts as well. I think it's Brenny has said the root of all the problems, clear to everyone at Celtic, it's the manager. Montrose 1, Elgin City 0 as well. And Lewis Monaghan says Celtic are too reliant on Lee Griffiths. And also Kieran Forker says, should the SFA deduct ticket prices to improve attendances? Well, ticket prices is another area that I think we've all wanted to look at. And I tell you, there's a red card. And there's a red card at Tannadice. And I think, just trying to go back over that to see who's been sent off. Not quite sure. Jordan McGee has been sent off there for Hearts. Second yellow card. And I think, Ruffy, that suddenly sways it towards Dundee United.
Yeah, we would like to think so. We saw a game in midweek there with Hibs and Hearts, and they didn't have a chance to settle in the man getting sent off. But you would certainly think now that Hearts would have to try and defend what they've got. It's happened to them quite a lot this year, and they'll be able to see out games. Surprised the boy Jordan McGee again. I never managed to see on the monitor what the second booking for. I think it was a corner, and he's probably just caught the ball this time rather than.
Two's over there, Rocky. I don't know why you're looking at it.
I'm just saying he's caught it. He's caught it rather than palmed it.
It's a mirror. It's a mirror down there.
It's a challenge on O'Fair, Ruffy. You can see here from the replay, it's slowing down for you. The challenge, when you're on a booking already, Ruffy, the last thing you want to do is just go in there, as you can see now, and you pick up another yellow.
Yeah, it's defenders, that get booked very early on in games, and it just puts pressure on them for the rest of the game. Some of them are responsible enough not to get into that kind of tackle, but he's a young man.
That striker's tackle.
Yeah, he's a young man, and it's just.
But it's a good point Peter's made, Ruffy, because I tell you, when I was a coach or a manager at any time, I'd be very angry with a player who had a yellow card, because I used to put instructions on to him just to say, don't get into any more challenges. Just try and read it and win it, but don't be tackling them, because automatically you're on a yellow.
I know.
Certainly early in the game.
Were you a coach or a manager?
Well, I was assistant manager, but I was coach, assistant manager.
Would you prefer to be called a coach if you were a manager of a football club? A lot of them want to get called coach now, don't they, rather than manager?
Yeah, I would rather just coach rather than assistant manager. But as I say, I used to get instructions on to players who had their booking early on and say, like, here's your warning, because at times you're thinking, well, I substitute him now as well, because you're thinking, if he's liable to be doing it, if he's a type of player that might go into another challenge, but always got instructions on there, because I think players have to be told, be sensible about this.
I've always wondered, why do managers always make a change at 60 minutes? I mean, every manager seems to do it.
I know, yeah.
That was Gordon Strachan's trait.
I used to
wait for the hour before he even thought about it.
I used to think, well, he's having an absolute shocker. Get him off at half time. Yeah,
absolutely.
Cometh the hour, cometh the man.
Yeah.
Oh, wee bit of culture there from Ruffy. Fantastic, and what a chance there. Paul Payton and John Rankin just getting involved. The lovely ball through, and Rankin hits the post. What a chance that was! And look at that, he's hit the post and then he's dropped a spanner and a hammer. He's down tools, Ruffy. That's incredible. That's unbelievable, United, just because they've hit the post.
St Johnson equalised as well. St Johnson back in the game.
This has got Hearts 1-0 written all over it.
It really has. I can't tell you, John Sutter's just come on for Hearts, because clearly right now Zanetta's going off and Robbie Nielsen just wants to bolt the door at the back. Now they're down to 10 men. St John's have equalised against Motherwell. Ross County have taken the lead against Hamilton. Suddenly we're getting goals on this show on a Saturday. Slow starter, half time in the Championship at St Mirren. Let's go there now for Derek Clark.
Yeah, half-time at the Paisley 2021 Stadium at St Mirren 0, Dumbarton 0, and it's been a pretty uneventful first 45, lacking any real clear-cut chances. The hosts came close in 27 minutes when Loris Shanklin had a close-range effort deflected wide after good work from Rocco Quinn. Dumbarton, meanwhile, came close themselves through Gregor Buchanan, who had a header cleared off the line, but apart from that, is struggling really for any clear-cut goal-mouth chances. The team's going at the break. It's St Mirren 0, Dumbarton 0.
Well, I must apologise for the when it was chaos in here. You probably heard us jumping up and down. Well, only one person, and that was Ruffy, because Dundee United have scored, Ruffy. They're a goal up against the 10 men of Hearts.
Yeah, I have to say they've had a few chances, and to go in just at half time, obviously leading 1-0. They've got a man sent off.
It looks like two men sent off.
Who else has been off?
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
Current screen are saying 2 men have been set off at
we're about to find out, because
Yes.
it's
No,
fast
it's
approaching.
just been put back on
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
He's put back
He's
on.
not going off.
No, he's not going off.
Let's go back on. It looked as if it was an injury. Anyway,
That's weird,
you
isn't
two are unbelievable. It's still 1-0 to Dundee United, and St Johnstone against Motherwell still 1-1 there as well. So goals going in across the country, but Dundee United have got the all-important goal, and we did mention there Ross County also scoring there a goal up on Hamilton Accies. So finally in the Premiership, some of the strikers have started to wake up, Frank, and Schalke has got the goal, and Schalke has done well, Macca, because he had to come in, and the fans' favourite Liam Boyce was injured.
Of course, and you know, it's a hard act to follow, Boyce, because he's a decent player, you know, and the boys come in, and you know, you got to just say, that's what it's about. You get a chance and you take it. He's come in, he's done, he can't do any more than score his goal and, you know, maybe go on and get another one or so, and then put a question mark to the manager, you know, so to keep him in the team, which is what you do as a striker.
Yeah, here's a player that I couldn't believe that Hibs allowed to leave maybe a good couple of seasons ago, Ruffy. David Willerson scored that goal for St Johnstone to equalise against the Motherwell. I thought he was a good player.
That was another crazy decision by Terry Butcher. He was the one who decided that he wasn't in his plans, along with Kevin Thompson, and shipped him right out the door. And I always thought he was a natural left-sided player who could get to the byline, put quality balls into the box, and I think he's matured a lot since he's went there. And he'll be a good player for them.
Yep, okay. We'll be going to Tannadice after the break to hear about that Guy Demel goal, a former West Ham player that Macca knows only too well, scoring that all-important goal for United. We'll also keep you right up to date with events at Kilmarnock as well, where it's 0-0 at half-time. Still no breakthrough between Celtic and Inverness as well. Ruffy's a happy man. The comeback, the fight back for Dundee United is on. But will it continue? Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Delighted to have your company. Half time across the country. Tannadice, Dundee United against Hearts. Craig Turnbull.
Time here at Tannadice. Dundee United 1, Hearts 0. They've got the response they wanted, and they've been very good in this first half, you have to say. They've created plenty of chances and have been a better side, and they just broke the deadlock just before half time when Fraser's corner was met by the front post run of Guy Demel, who powered a header past Alexander in goal. In truth, Hearts have been pretty poor. Alexander's had to make a couple of good saves from O'Fair and Guy Demel before that opening goal, and Hearts have also been reduced to 10 men when Jordan McGee got his second yellow card, which I thought was quite harsh. The ball was there to be won. He connected with O'Fair, and Kevin Clancy decided that that was worthy of a second yellow card. An uphill battle for Hearts in the second half, but Mixu Patalainen will be delighted what he's seen from his side so far. Half time at Tannadice, Dundee United 1, Hearts 0.
Still all to play for. Hearts have got a real uphill climb, as Craig Turnbull just relayed to us. Before we give you the half-time scores across the country, let's go to Rugby Park. Laura Brannan's there. Come on at Dundee.
Yeah, goal is here at Rugby Park, and Lee. I'm going to start that one again. Goal is here at Rugby Park. We're getting all the weather, all the seasons here in one half. It was a glorious sunny day to start with, and now it's lashing it down with rain. No goals to speak of so far. Josh McGuinness has came closest for the home side. In the opening minutes, he had an effort cleared off the line by Kevin Holt, and not long after, the same another chance, quite similar, cleared off the line this time by Nick Ross, coming to the rescue for Dundee. Rory Loy had the best chance for the visitors down at the opposite end, and it came after a great run by Greg Stewart, almost from the halfway line. He unselfishly passed it to his strike partner, but he sent it over the bar. So goal is here, and no goals to speak of as yet at half-time at Rugby Park, nothing each.
Okay, thank you to Laura. I have actually witnessed on YouTube a number of reporters who started a report and then blew it and had a few choice words and then started again, not realising they were live. Gordon, so we're really lucky that Laura was the consummate professional. Let's look at the Premiership and the half-time scores. So there you have it, Celtic 0, Inverness 0, and the Celtic fans have been letting them know exactly what they think of the first 45 minutes. Dundee United 1, Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0, Dundee 0, as Laura relayed to us there. Ross County 1, Hamilton 0, Shark with a goal, and it's St Johnstone 1, Motherwell 1. What about the Championship? There it is, Morton 0, Falkirk 1, John Baird 16 goals for the season. Wraith Rovers 1, Livingston 0, and St Mirren 0, Dumbarton 0. Hibs Alloa Queen of the South against Rangers tomorrow. Scottish League 1, Airdrieonians 0, Stranraer 0, Brecon City 1, Dunfermline 2, and Cowdenbeath 1, Peterhead 2. And in League 2, it is Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 1, Clyde 2, Berwick Rangers 0. No goals between East Fife, Stirling, East Stirling and Annan, and Montrose 1, Elgin City 0. What about the FA Cup? Have we managed to get you the latest from there? Well, I can tell you that it's Arsenal 0, Hull 0 the full time. That'll be a replay which Steve Bruce has said he's not looking forward to. It's Reading 0, West Brom 0. And Watford 0, Leeds 0, with Bournemouth against Everton kicking off at 5:15. Second half on the way on the Saturday Football Show. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Delighted to have your company on STV, 2 o'clock every Saturday, 4 hours, and Frank McAvenny, Gordon Smith and Alan Ruff are our top pundits today, taking you through the 4 hours with the concentration very much on Scottish football, but we'll keep you up to date with what's happening in the FA Cup as well. This afternoon there's no breakthrough for the Premiership champions at home to Inverness. 45 minutes of frustration, certainly a few hairy moments for Celtic in the back line with Lee Griffiths in the last line of defence at one point for Celtic to try and stop Storey from getting a goal scoring opportunity, and really it's been a difficult 45 minutes for Ronnie Dyla's side, and the fans certainly not happy with what they're watching there. Motherwell took the lead against St Johnstone through Louis Moult, but David Witherspoon come back with an equaliser for the Saints in that match. We were looking for goals. It was laid on before we eventually got them in the Premiership, and Ross County's goal from Alex Schalk is the difference between the two sides. Up at Dingwall, Ross County 1, Hamilton Accies 0. And the big news, the one that we're keeping an eye on at Tannadice, Hearts down to 10 men, a second yellow for Jordan McGee, and with that advantage Dundee United were able to take the lead. Lovely cross in for Demel, and Demel scores the goal that gives United that all-important advantage, Ruffy, which they have to build on now.
Yeah, and it's okay saying yes, yeah, you should be confident, you know, and seeing the game out, but Dundee United haven't been confident in seeing any game out this year, so it's going to be an incredible 45 minutes, and until they get that second goal, I don't think anybody will be comfortable in that stadium, and I think particularly the last 10-15 minutes when Hearts will have to throw everything at it. It's going to be strong character that gets them through that game.
I know we mentioned this, Gordon, and you talked about it in the first half of the programme, which is we're talking about artificial pitches and the difficulty for the players playing on, whether it's a grass surface which is heavily bogged down after rain, or indeed snowy conditions, whatever, and all-weather pitches. The one thing that always strikes me as a worry is we never seem to actually mention the fact that on a day like today, which is bitterly cold, driving rain and wind, fans have to go out and watch it in those conditions.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly ideal. I'm looking at the attendance for St Johnstone against Motherwell. 3,039 and 429 Motherwell fans at the game.
I know. They don't take that into account at all, and that's why, as I say, I did my research before, years ago, when I did a paper on it, and 90%, just over 90% of the games that are cancelled are actually cancelled in January or February. It's also the worst weather for everybody, for people travelling, then having to sit at a match. I just think we should have a shutdown. We should have a longer winter shutdown in this country and play in better conditions, see better football, and then we would be able to put grass down and have grass. We wouldn't have to look at AstroTurf pitches because the conditions wouldn't affect them. Because another thing that people don't realise as well is that, see, every time for a match to be on, see if they actually use undersoil heating, the actual grass, the seeds get damaged on the actual grass as well, and the grass doesn't really recover from that. So that's also a problem. So I think we don't take into account the weather conditions for the fans either.
It's one of the worst pitches. I mean, I've got to admit, in the last couple of years, one of the worst pitches I've seen is our National Stadium.
Yeah.
Hampden is terrible for.
Well, there was complaints about it, wasn't there?
It's unbelievable that the people, the powers that be, would let the National Stadium go into that state, because they're wanting to hold cup finals there, and it's just not.
Yeah.
It's not up to it. I mean, so I don't know who it is. Gordon, you know better than me. Who would need to look at it? Somebody's got to take responsibility for that.
There is a Hampden Park. People look after Hampden Park. There is actually a company.
A company?
Yeah, that looks after Hampden Park.
You've got to change it then.
It's an organisation that looks after it. There are people from the SFA and all that on the board of it. But it's a chap, Peter Dallas, who is the chief executive.
But he must, if he watches the games, because we'll watch the semi-finals, and there's over 2 days, and you watch them and you think, that pitch is horrendous. Not even the second day. It was worse the second day, but you know, the first day still wasn't good. It wasn't good condition.
There was one year they had to rip it up within
I know.
4 weeks.
Because of complaints, Alan. That's what it was, because of complaints.
For a cup final. But I think we all identify that January and February are the hardest. I mean, what's this up shutting there, right? You're losing 8 games.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the season, just play 8 midweek games.
Yeah. and start and even run it a bit longer, even run it into
you're having
the beginning
midweek
of
games
June.
with the cup ties and all that, and then if you go into replays, that's what we're talking
take away
about.
the replays then,
Yeah, take away the replays and play.
There's a wee twist up at Dingwall, guys. A record has been given a red card. 50 seconds into the second half, a challenge on Dougie Imrie, referee, red card, off he goes. They're 1-0 up, but they're down to 10 men. It's a chance for Hamilton to come right back into it.
He's a big player for Hamilton as well. If you're wanting somebody to try and pull you out of slack, then Dougie Imrie's a man. He's been there, and he's a big experienced player as well, so that's not looking good for them. Ross County's looking well in the driving seat.
Record's gone
tackle
off.
was on Imrie.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Tackle's
Sorry.
on Imrie. Yeah.
I didn't see that, sorry.
So it's a chance now for Aki's to get back into it.
yeah.
So lots of people actually. We've got a nice one here from Rabbit Slippers, who's watching the programme. And the reason why I mention him is because sometimes programmes can be accused of being biased and just mentioning nice things.
Yes.
So he sent in, yes, because we've conceded the least amount of league goals. And he's obviously one of these Celtic fans that doesn't like any criticism whatsoever of his club. There are a number of fans across all teams who are like that. They won't tolerate anything other than just a certain set of tinted glasses. But they may well have conceded the least amount of goals, but it's the critical ones that they have conceded that have brought the most amount of pressure on the manager, Ruffy.
Yeah, and it's not only that, it's the old saying that when you ever talk about Celtic, it's a style of play. You know, it's the entertaining style of play that they play. You know, it's a joy to go and watch. It's the Celtic way and all that comes out, and it's definitely not happening just now. I mean, as today's result shows, they're not playing attractive football. They're not playing the kind of football that the supporters used to see. Obviously, better quality of player there, so you're going to get better football, but it's just not happening.
Yeah, I can tell you, Roberts is clear through for Inverness, had a great opportunity, but Gordon made the save. That was a real chance for Inverness. I always think, here's a great line, Gordon, I always think that's just a lot of baloney. Somebody wants to play a certain way. I mean, there was a manager actually who was sacked in the last couple of weeks in England because he didn't. The PR spin on it was from the chairman that he didn't actually play. And I'll tell you who it was, Derby County. The chairman came out and said the boy Paul Clement didn't embrace the way Derby County play. And I thought, wow, what is the Derby County way? Sack your manager and play most of your football in the lower leagues. Because they have a reputation for it. They sacked Brian Clough at a crucial time, and it changed the course of their history.
Yeah, it's true. I think a lot of the times they just think that they're set to play a certain way. We have a tradition of playing a certain style of football, and that's because at times you've had good teams and you have played good football. I mean, Liverpool don't play the way the team that I used to play against when I was down in England. The Liverpool team then with Dalglish and Souness and Hansen, all these people, they played a different style of football completely. So how can you just suddenly ask the manager now to take the set of players he's got and say, let's play that way? Another one was, as Frank would tell you as well, the West Ham way was also considered that they always liked to play football, didn't they? Always like a certain style.
They've got back to that. I mean, I think it was on Peter says, well, what is the West Ham way? People say, it's just getting the ball down and playing football. Like everyone wants. It's not a certain, they just get the ball, you get the ball down, pass it and move. That's all we done in training. When I was down there, you pass, if you didn't move, it was a free kick to the other team. You've got to do it, and it, I tell you what, it sharpens you up. You take that into the game, and 9 out of 10 we were too quick for the opposition.
Yeah, I can tell you there's an equaliser at Tannerise. Dundee United 1, Hearts 1, and what a strike it was, right into the roof of the net. A sensational goal, an equaliser, Ruffy. Jamie Walker, look at the shot. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm just looking at the replay. Kawashima's got no chance.
Yeah, it was a great strike.
You're raging up.
I mean, I just said that 5 minutes ago. Dundee United's biggest problem has been able to see out games, and you would think against 10 men, you would be able to. And to lose a goal right after half time, obviously, the team talk at half time would have been positive. Mixer would be giving them, instructions on how to play against 10 men, and then all of a sudden you come out and lose again.
Yeah.
But how many times that happens, Peter? It happens when the man gets sent off. It's harder to play against the 10 men than what it is to play against the 11 because they tend to step it up.
Robbie's already said he worked his team with 10
you know,
men.
It was 9 this week. It was 9 this week. If he gutted, he get put back on.
Yeah, I mean, there's been you mentioned that. There's been a fair bit of criticism of Willie Collum over the last few months. Some of it, I think, you know, at times Willie can be a little over officious, but if he was that bad in the game last week, then quite simply the SFA would have intervened on the Ross Draper issue, Gordon Smith, surely, and said, OK, you have to come up here for some retrospective punishment.
Well, that's what I didn't understand. I mean, a lot of people said they looked at it and there was no contact. So therefore, if that is the case, you think his refereeing department would have come out then and brought the player forward, because that was brought in for looking at retrospectively at situations where a player has conned the referee, because the referee can't be blamed when that happens. If a player actually makes a dive and he's gone, so that's what I'm saying, that should have actually been looked at, and if Draper wasn't touched, then it wasn't Willie Collum's fault if he gave the penalty.
Gary Mackay-Stephen has made it 1-0 Roffey. They're a goal up on Inverness Cally Thistle. You mentioned there the potential for Celtic in the second half to come out there and score the goal. Yeah,
by all, Craig Gordon's made a good save, you know, that has just kept him in the game, and that's a sign of a good goalkeeper, and obviously they've got that goal, and you would expect them now to go on and win quite comfortably.
Watford 1, Leeds 0, and that one is an own goal. Nothing worse to be remembered for an own goal than an FA Cup tie Wooten.
I don't think I've ever scored on it. I got one, maybe a header at front post. Great. Loved the goalkeeper at the back post. It was a great header for me. But that's the only own goal I've ever scored. Yeah. But it must be, you get certain players, especially defenders, that do it. They scored quite a few times.
Yeah, I think Terry Butcher scored a number of fantastic own goals. I mean, Terry never actually did a tap-in.
He never done tap-ins.
He had absolutely unbelievable
his tackles as well.
And I seem to remember another one was a guy, Willie Garner. Do you remember Willie?
Yeah,
Aberdeen.
He played with Aberdeen. He scored
played
2
before
own goals.
Alec McLeish sort of took over from Willie Garner, I think.
Yeah. He scored 2 on his first 2 games, I think, when he signed for Celtic, Roffey. But I met him in Edinburgh. He was a junior manager for a number of years now. Great big lad, great lad. You know,
Newton Grange,
Newton Grange.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I love about you, Roffey. Just all that bit of information in the back.
I was like you, Frank. 1 on goal, I got 1. I scored 1. I was in Switzerland. I was playing at the back at the time. I was playing the libero, as they call it over there, sweeper. And the ball came down, and I just first timed it back to the keeper and didn't realise
wasn't on your level.
He was standing beside me.
Did you write a paper on that own goal?
No, I didn't write a paper on that one.
I just have this. If you scored 2 goals and an own goal, do you get the ball? You get a hat trick.
Yeah, I think you've got to.
Take it anyway.
There are some players who have done that.
I don't know about you, Ruffy, but I've just got this image of, you know how, and I'm not just singling out women for this, but some guys would have it as well, where you hit the button in your bedroom and it opens up to a huge big shoe cupboard. You know how some people have got those walk-in cupboards, Mac, and they're very lucky to have them. I just have this button in Gordon's room, and it opens up to all these documents he submitted to FIFA and the SPFL and the SFA. I suggested this. We should use a round ball. 1875. I'll never forget it.
All genuinely things I've written.
Do your credit. That's what I'm saying.
When he went into the SFA, I sent him a text saying it's at last somebody that's got a football brain, and he never get making any decisions.
No, in that cupboard, that's what I'm saying. In that cupboard there'd be a sign that said, "Nobody listened to me."
There was the one shelf actually was all my resignation letters. Quite a few.
Am I still here?
I'll tell you, Darren Fletcher has scored for West Brom, but Reading have equalised in that FA Cup match. McShane has just got the goal to get Reading back level. Watford are leading by a 0-0 against Leeds United, as we mentioned. Wooten, an own goal there, gives the London club the lead in that match. Elsewhere, it's the goal from Gary Mackay-Stephen, the difference between Celtic and Inverness. Let's have a look at the latest in the Premiership. Mackay-Stephen's goal. Celtic 1, Inverness 0. Dundee United 1, Hearts 1. Walker with the equaliser. Remember, Hearts are down to 10 men. Kilmarnock 0, Dundee 0. Ross County 1, Hamilton 0. Schalke with a goal. St Johnstone 1, Motherwell 1. And that was the goal from Moult, and then the equaliser from Wotherspoon. And I can tell you it's Morton 1, Falkirk 1 in the Championship as well, and Adrionians 0, Stranraer 1. So goals starting to fly in. I can tell you John Rankin has just been knocked out by an Ozturk free kick, and I think that's bringing back a lot of memories for us, Ruffy, because I think it's similar to Branco knocking out one of our pundits, Murdo MacLeod, in a game for Brazil against Scotland. It's not a story I've heard all that often.
It's very noticeable on the monitor there that there's none of Rankin's mates coming up to see if he's okay after the slaughter they gave them.
You know the funny thing on this social media, there was something on last night. I was watching it yesterday, and it was a goalkeeper. Somebody posted it on it, and it was a goalkeeper taking penalties, and the keeper's went the right way, but he's missed it, and it smashed the boy in the face. It's a good save, and the guy had to come on, and he's all dazed, the salts and all that. And then the boy missed the penalty, so he had to go and goal again, and he's dived again. It's smashed on his face again. Three times. He missed it with his hands.
I don't know if you're aware of this, Frank. That was actually a staged skit. It wasn't actually an actual game.
Nobody told him. I was in a pub last night. It was all right. It was good. It was good. It was good.
I'd love to be able to do. Yes, it was a sketch. It was.
It would be
a sketch.
Never be. Had to be done.
Only McAvenny could be taken in.
Everyone in the bar last night thought it was hilarious.
It's 2-0 to Celtic now.
There you go.
I can tell you, Lee Griffiths has scored, and yet again he's popped up there. Ruffy, you suggested that's what would happen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is a lot of tension when at Parkhead and at Ibrox as well. The guys will tell you until you get that first goal, there's an enormous amount of pressure. But once you get the first goal, pressure just eases.
When you're coming off half time, Alan, you're coming off half time and the crowd's booing you. It wakens you up.
Yeah, let's go to New St Mirren Park. There's a goal there now, Derek Clark.
Yeah, the home side have finally broke the deadlock. It's Lawrence Shankland with the goal played in. It was vaulted strike past the goalkeeper Mark Brown into the corner of the net to put the Buddies 1 up. St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 0.
So Lawrence Shankland on loan from Aberdeen pops up with a vital one.
It's a big game because, I mean, if Dumbarton were to win this game, which, I mean, they've beaten St Mirren before at St Mirren Park, they would have gone above them. So that St Mirren need to win. But I was going to go back to the Celtic one and say there'll be a lot of Celtic fans annoyed about that. I'll tell you why, because there's a lot of them do a regular bet every week now. Griffiths first goal, Celtic to win, and he's got the second goal today.
Yeah, Montrose 3, Elgin 0, Malagari with a goal. I have to tell you that Morton goal was chalked off there. He'd just gone off at the byline, and the goal was disallowed. So no goal there for Morton. Sorry for any Morton fans that thought, "Oof, there's an equaliser." It's been corrected. It's Morton 0, Falkirk 1. So still Peter Houston's side still in the mix there with that advantage. Long way to go though. As I look at the goals that are flying in, we are bringing them to you on this Saturday afternoon. Frank McAvenny, Alan Ruff, and Gordon Smith. Let's have a look at the latest from the Championship now to keep us up to date. Morton 0, Falkirk 1, Wraith Rovers 2, Livingston 0, and St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 0. And in the League 1, Adrionians 0, Stranraer 1, Brecon City 1, Dunfermline 2, Cowdenbeath 2, Peterhead 2, and League 2, it's Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 1, Clyde 2, Berwick Rangers 0, East Fife 0, Stirling Albion 0, East Stirlingshire 0, Annan Athletic 1, and Montrose 3, Elgin City 0. What about the FA Cup? The road to Wembley. Arsenal 0, Hull City 0, Reading 1, West Brom 1, and Watford 1, Leeds 0. And Bournemouth against Everton is a 5:15 kick-off. Any of you guys been to the new Wembley?
Yes, I played in it. Played a game.
Yeah.
So it was a game before a schoolboy international match. They had a match on it, so I got to play in it. So It's what amazed me was the fact that you come out from a different area now. You come out in the centre of the park, whereas before you used to come behind the goals. Yeah. But the thing was, they said the pitch, which I didn't realise, the pitch is in exactly the same place as the original Wembley was. So everything, anywhere you were on the pitch, anything that happened, you can recreate that moment, because, as I say, the pitch has not changed. It's in the exact same place, but the stadium is different. I thought it was a shame they changed some, because it's so much tradition to it. But it's a fantastic stadium.
Yeah, lots of great memories for you there, Ruffy. It's a stadium that you enjoyed. I can tell you, Scott Allen is coming on for Celtic. He's just replaced Stuart Armstrong. So a chance for the Celtic fans to see Scott Allen in another cameo role. And I can tell you that elsewhere in the Premiership, we have a humdinger of a game on at Tannadice. Dundee United 1, Hearts 1. If Hearts were to win that one, Ruffy, that really would be even more criticism, heavy criticism, because they're down to 10 men.
Yep, I would have to say on record, if Dundee United were to lose one, I would have to give up.
Would you believe it?
I would be
incredible.
I would be absolutely. I would be. I would have. It would just drain. I'd just be drained. Everything would be drained out of me physically.
Yeah. If Hearts win today.
Hearts win today.
But Dundee, you're still going to do your dance across the.
If they win.
Oh yeah.
Well, guys haven't come in to reinforce it yet. So.
Would it be possible if Dundee United win today, Ruffy, you just dance round the back of the guys before the programme ends?
More than happy. More than happy to do that.
Yeah. Come in.
Yeah, that'll be more than happy. You're a hard man, that would be great, Ruffy, to see us saying farewell and you dancing behind Gordon and Maka will live long in
I remember him dancing when he was playing against Brazil, when he was doing the samba beat and all that. Yeah, the goals were flying in, he was still dancing.
I'm almost certain he was dancing as Zico hit the first one.
Sometimes you've got to be there.
Hold on to that, Maka. You just thought Ruffy was on the ropes, he hit you with a hook. That was sensational. Yep, Ruffy's been to 3 World Cups, 2 playing, 1 on holiday. And Gordon Smith and Frank McAvenny are here. So Scott Allen gets on and a chance to maybe make an impression, Ruffy.
Yeah, honestly, any time I've seen him, the chance that he's got, he's done something special. Yeah. You know, he's made a special pass in between. There's something that we keep talking about. We don't see players with the ability of being able to see a pass. Yeah. And he had one. I know it was only against Stranraer, but he played a pass through. I think it was Lee Griffiths.
That's right.
No other Celtic player had tried for the whole
it was a lovely
pass.
It's actually something that Celtic's missing, isn't it?
He came on at Parkhead and he had something special. He's got that. He just needs to. I think he needs to do something special and then get into the team. And then keep him in the team.
See, I think without Commons, Celtic haven't got someone that can pin the pass about. Create that.
But I just see where they play him though, Frank, because to me the ideal position to play him would have been for Johansson. Yeah. In terms of that role, the number 10 role, basically behind the striker, centrally. Whereas it'd be interesting to see whether with Armstrong being off, whether they've actually put Scott Allen on in a wide area, because I don't think it'll suit him as much there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Vaughan Williams has made a fantastic save. It's just denied Celtic what would have been a third goal and all 3 points in that match. I don't think there's any way back for Inverness. I don't think we're putting our neck out on the line on that one. Celtic in control. Lee Griffiths with that second goal there. All eyes on Tannadice. Dundee United 1, Hearts 1 for any little twist and turn. Higginbotham and Boyd have come on, Ruffy, for Kilmarnock in their game. Clearly Lee Clark's trying to, and I can tell you, Dougie Emery has just levelled the match. Ross County won, Hamilton Accies won, and again Ross County have paid the penalty for indiscipline, record sent off. Hamilton equalised 1-1, game on there as well. But Higginbotham and Boyd are on, Ruffy. Lee Clark will get a look at 2 players that have come from the bench.
Yeah, and 2 players that we've saw that can win games, both of them. Given the chance, Higginbotham, if we get back to the form that we used to see him with, he can win games single-handedly, and we all know about Chris Boyd. Given the chance, put the ball into the box and he'll get on the end of it.
Yep, and I can tell you it's Airdrie 1, Stranraer 1. So equalising goal there for Airdrie. And I'll bring you the scorer on that in just a moment. Watt has got the goal. So there you have it. Straight in there, Macca. Every bit of information we can possibly get across to you.
Never in doubt. It's you've your mind of information, aren't you? Just,
absolutely.
It's incredible. It amazes me working with you all the time. It's great.
It amazes me that we're still working together after 30 years. If I said that, if I said that to you when we were doing the slosh all those years ago in Paisley, nobody would have believed us. Alan Appleby has said as a tweet at Peter and Ruffy saying, "What is your views on the row between Killie and Rangers about the surface at Rugby Park? Where do you think it's going to go, this row, Gordon?"
I think it's just it'll die away. I think it's just it's out there. People have an opinion on whether the grass or AstroTurf's better. As I say, we've had a good discussion on it today, and we have said that I'm a believer grass is better, but only good grass, and we don't get that after August. After August to September, we don't. We don't get good grass.
Summer
pitches.
grass.
Summer grass. And I'm in favour of it if the pitches were good all the time, but they're not.
Can I just only for a moment of clarity, because
please.
I know which way the mind is here. If you've just joined us, Gordon Smith is talking about good grass for football. Only good grass. Ryan has come on for Stefan Johansson.
Just shows you my mind doesn't think that way.
No, listen, as soon as I knew, as soon as I looked at Cheech and Chong, I knew right away that these two were on another planet.
I didn't quite realise what was.
I thought it was getting ripped off.
I didn't realise what was insinuating there. Sorry about that.
So, anyway, the point is quite simply, back to Alan Appleby. Alan, we think it's going to let Peter out. At the end of the day, if FIFA, as Gordon Smith mentioned there, are into it, then it will gather pace. A lot more clubs will get away with putting AstroTurf down. I do like the suggestion, though, Ruffy, that some clubs, have a mixture, a percentage of grass woven into the artificial surface.
Well, I think the majority of the new pitches that have been laid have got that. It's a new technology. I think Partick Thistle's got that. It's an interwoven thing, and it isn't grass anymore. Even you look at the English clubs, it's not grass as we know it. It's a mixture of synthetic stuff, and that's why it looks absolutely magnificent. I mean, I watch the English games and you look at it and you never even see a part getting cut up.
But do you know what? I get down playing a tournament at West Ham Peter Road every year, and it's incredible. I mean, it's just it's like grass. It's like playing perfect on grass, but it's absolutely perfect. And that's them. And I always have a tournament at the end of the season, and that's it after a full season. It's incredible.
They've normally relayed it 2 or 3 times during that season.
Course,
it's not.
Oh, is that right? I don't know.
They change it all the time.
I think if you've got an extra £100 million coming in from TV deals, you can change
does
it.
Help.
And strangely enough, when we talk about long-term friendships and how you, when you're friends with somebody for such a long time, you think you'd get an invite down to Upton Park for his own personal tournament, but that hasn't quite materialised.
Money talks, son.
We will this year. We will this year.
Why don't you put a team in?
We're bound to be asked down this year.
Knowing you as I do, that's going to cost us a fair few quid, to be honest with you. But let's keep you up to date with the goals. I'll tell you one that's going to be a real problem. Reading are 2-1 up against West Bromwich Albion. West Bromwich Albion struggled in the last round, Gordon Smith. They could be up against it and heading out of the FA Cup.
Correct. I mean, you don't know whether they're a team that they're not exactly fighting for a European spot, so I wouldn't imagine that they'll be taking it easy in the cup. They'll be wanting to win the cup, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I felt in the last round there, they really they could have been out. It went to penalties to get through after extra time, but now losing to Reading today, I mean, that was a League One team. Was it Peterborough that played in the last round?
Yeah,
and it was League One.
He changes the team. Tony Pulis, doesn't he? He brings in players and gives them a chance, and he changes it. Whether it's a cup, their main priority is just to stay in the league, isn't it?
I know, but you think a team like West Brom would be a great achievement for them to win a cup?
Yeah. I'll tell you, there was a great chance there. I'm just looking. Ryan Dow has lobbed Neil Alexander. It looked as if it was going over the keeper into the roof of the net, but would you believe it, Ruffy? Look at the bounce on grass. Grass is a disgrace. It bounced over the top of the bar, and that chance is gone. Ruffy, what a chance that was for United.
Yeah, these are chances that they've got to take, and there's too many times they've not been able to take them, and that's why they're in the position they're in. But as long as they keep creating chances, they've got still something to hang on to.
Yeah,
But if this game could go either way today, Peter, Ruffy's right about one thing. If Dundee can win this game, they hang in there, they'll still have the belief, everything will keep going. If they lose this game, then they've got to say in their own minds, it's finished. They've got to see that, because the other teams round about them just now are all, at the moment, they're all sitting on a point. Motherwell, Hamilton and Kilmarnock are all also sitting on a point. So a point to Dundee United today won't make any difference in that respect. But if they were to get a win today, they'll probably feel, oh, we can still do it.
Yeah, East Fife 1, Stirling Albion 0. Kevin Smith with the goal there in the second half. Interestingly enough, we're talking about there seems to be a mass exodus of players, not what I would call top drawer players, but a mass exodus of players following the money to China, Frank McAvenny. And the reason I mention that is because would you believe it, I saw an article today where Mo Bangura is on his way to China. Remember him, Macca?
Yeah, well, China, mate, there's a lot of money in China, but he'll not be getting. I mean, they're putting out for the big names, big players over there. He's going to go over there. He's going to earn a decent living, but you know, he'll be the big man over there. I don't think he'll do much. I thought he was hopeless, to be honest with you. You know.
Okay.
So I think I don't think China's one today. I played in Hong Kong at the end of my career, and you think it's just a good way to finish your career.
Yeah.
And that's where he's going. He'll be comfortable there. He'll not be.
But they have plans. My understanding is that China have big plans to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
Within the next, I think, 12 years.
So is America. I mean, I thought America could be missed out within the next 12 years.
Yeah. I think if anybody's going to stand a better chance, because it hasn't been there, and FIFA's ethos seems to be to spread it to areas where they haven't been able to, spread the word. Then quite simply, I think also Laketsi has left the PSG for China too, so that gives you an indication of, in fact, Lavetzi, I beg your pardon, I think that gives you an indication of the standard of player who's heading out there trying to make a bit of money at the tail end of their careers.
One of the big Chinese clubs have offered 38 million or something.
Lots of money.
Yeah.
I tell you,
Fortunes.
Kane Hemmings has hit a cracker of a shot and a brilliant one-handed save there from Jamie McDonald. Ruffy, you'd have been proud of that one in Monitor 22.
Yeah, Jamie McDonald, I thought when he played Rangers he had two really world-class saves, and that's what kind of keeper he is. He's got fantastic agility, and again he's kept his team in the game.
Do you think a lot of it's in the head with keepers, because it's the concentration really, isn't it? Because you could be out the game, I don't know how you do it, you could be out the game for so. If you're a striker or a midfield player, you can go and get involved in the game. But as a striker, you've got to keep concentration. And it's just for 1 minute, and you've got to pull off a save like that. You know, it's incredible.
It's more so playing for the old firm when you think of it. If you're in a really good team and you're attacking and you're on top, then all of a sudden you're asked to make a save. Maybe you've not had a touch.
I always wondered about that standing goal and getting pelters off the boys' bench.
Yeah.
It's funny you were saying you were watching that Rangers Celtic UK Gold game.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about Andy Goram's save with Van Hondok. The save that Alan McGregor has that day against with Sampras was equal.
I know. He should have scored.
Yeah, Pete Sampras.
Sampras.
That takes us nicely back to the concentration that goalkeepers have. Never mind the game of football. On a football programme, the concentration is incredible. You want to say it was a second serve as well, but he still managed to make the save. I can tell you, it's counting me 2, Peter ahead 3.
You know, concentrating there.
Do you ever miss anything?
No, I didn't miss anything, believe me. Clyde 2, Berwick Rangers 1, and I can also tell you that Stephen McLean has gone off for St Johnstone, and guess who's come on? John Sutton. Do you remember that day, Gordon Smith?
Yes.
Ruffy absolutely slaughtered John Sutton, saying it was time he should come off, and within 20 seconds of him finishing his
No, it was while he was saying it.
Yeah.
I would not remember. It was while Ruffy was saying, I don't know why Sutton's still on. He's had a terrible game. He's not been doing anything. While he's saying that, Sutton scored. We couldn't come in for laughing.
Timing's everything.
Yeah,
Timing was amazing.
I'll tell you one thing though, he hasn't had a chance at St Johnstone now. He's struggling to get into the
He's
team.
struggling to get in, but once he gets in, you come in, you score goals. That's what the manager's looking for. When you bring him in, as I say, take chances. But I've just been noticing that there's a big kick up at Celtic Park because Johansson, when he took off, he ran straight down the tunnel. didn't go near the box, didn't shake hands, straight down the tunnel.
Yeah.
So there'll be altercations with that one.
Well, there's a story to be told
Yes.
there, isn't there? That's a
Yeah.
good point there, Macca, because he's not, and I think, to be fair to the boy, I don't think he deserves individual criticism,
No.
Ruffy. I think that's unfair when you start looking to one person and then booing them.
Yeah.
It doesn't do them any favours.
No, but unfortunately,
That doesn't do us any favour with the fans,
unfortunately,
does it?
again, as the guys will tell you, when you're at a club, sometimes the fans pick on one player, and that one player, sometimes it doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah.
You know, he has the focus of, they've made it in their mind, he's the guy, and he's going to get it. And it's unfortunate for the player, because it must be a horrible experience knowing that that's going to happen to you if you don't turn
I
it
think
on.
it's
think you're
as
right.
well, because it was the manager's favourite. Everyone's saying he's a favourite of the manager because
Norwegian.
he was not having a good game, and the manager was taking other players off, and that's when the fans turn. But that doesn't help when you get took off and you run down the tunnel and don't go into the dugout, don't shake hands. That doesn't help.
I know.
It's with the fans, you know. So
Ross County have scored 2-1 up. One of our former guests, Ruffy, Ian McShane.
Yeah, good for him. You know, you would have thought with Hamilton scoring there, they would have had to settle for what they've got, but all credit to them. They've got that second goal, and I think they've got, 10 minutes to hang on to that, and that's good. I think Ross County, I'm not saying everybody's favourite, but I think everybody has enjoyed, you know, the form that they've had this year. You know, I think they've been a breath of fresh air in a lot of the games they've played in, considering seasons gone by. So yeah, I think everybody wants to see them push on.
It'd certainly be a blow for Hamilton if they were to end up losing to 10 men.
10 men.
Yeah.
Yeah. James Redmond has scored that goal for Peterhead. They're leading now by 3-2 against Cowdenbeath, and also Ewan McNeil got the goal for Berwick to bring them back into the match against Clyde. 2-1 there. But I think Ross County, with 10 men, will be more than happy if they can hold on to that one. What a great season it's been for Jim McIntyre. I think he deserves tremendous credit, Ruffy, for what he's achieved there. I mean, to get into the League Cup final against Hibernian as well.
Not only that, Peter, I think the owner's got a lot to say in it as well. I think we're led to believe that the owners actually put a lot of money into the project that Jim had.
Roy McGregor.
Yeah. I mean, Jim went up there and identified right away that the Foreign Legion wasn't the way to go, you know, and he had to bring in all his own players, and that's what he's done. And the managers backed him, and the owners backed him. And the both of them are getting the dividends of the decision that they've had to make.
I think the other thing about it that I hear from a number of players up there is that Jim McIntyre is so well organised, thorough, set pieces, for and against, formation, shape, everything. He's meticulous in his preparation.
Yes, I've heard that too, and I think that makes a big difference, because the players, respond to that. I think they're seeing the fact that the manager really wants to take things forward. He wants them to be at a high level, because Ross County have had an amazing rise when you think about it. Because they came from like being a Highland League team and all the way through to being up now challenging in cup finals and stuff like that. It's a fantastic achievement. Roy McGregor is a big factor. There's no doubt about that. Ruffy's right that he is the one that has backed this. His businesses have done well, and he's backed the club. But he's also backed people to the hilt as well. And I think that for the small club, they don't get big crowds. They never will get big crowds. They do really well.
The other thing is he's picked the right manager, and to be fair to Jim, Dodsy's up there, and he's well known. He's a character, and he loves his football, and he'll be cheering the dressing room up. So he'll be the go-between, which is always good to have a go-between between the manager and the players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see. You mentioned the points difference between fourth in the Premiership and the bottom end of it. I mean, there are certain clubs that I look at now, and I genuinely don't see Motherwell, Inverness, St Johnstone, Dundee, or Ross County in any way being involved in that playoff situation. Do you disagree with me?
I think the only one I thought of them was Motherwell might be, but I think Hamilton, Kilmarnock, Partick, I think are going to be fighting that. But I think Motherwell, to a certain extent, with the players they've got, they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I think they could be. If I to look at any of the ones, I don't see Ross County or Inverness being involved at all.
So you don't see anything like Ruffy that Dundee United could be in a playoff position?
Psychologically, one of the teams that's fallen foul of the game's off is Partick Thistle. Because Partick Thistle have dropped you know, from where they are. We're not playing any of the last 2 games. Other teams have picked up points.
They've got a few games in hand.
Yeah, but where you are in the league, you've just slipped right down. So they really need to get a game under their belt.
Yeah. Macca Patrick Roberts is on now for Gary Mackay-Stevens, so the Celtic fans will get a look at, I don't like to use the tag wonder kid, just a player who's got a...
healed into as one of these. So, listen, good luck to the boy. I know that what Ruffy's saying and Gordon about players, but I just think when you've got a price tag like that, he's a young kid, come up and just... OK, we're maturing them to go back and play for Man City or to play for a bigger club, but we don't often get a chance to see people when they're starting out in their career. And if he's half as good, for me, if he's half as good as what they reckon he's going to be, then I will be delighted that he's up here in Grayson. Not just Celtic, but football.
I think Ronnie Dyer is now making a point.
Putting the kids on?
Putting the kids on. But I think he's waited till he's went 2-0 up, and then he's thrown the kids on.
But it's interesting to note that the two other players he's put on are the 2 players who might have been upset about the fact that Roberts was getting a game before them, but he's put them both on. He's put Christie and Allen both on the field, so he's playing these 3 players who are people saying, you know, these young guys aren't getting a chance, sort of thing.
Yeah, and you can guarantee that will be what the talk will be after it in the media. But, you know, by the young players coming through.
Yeah. I know, but you've got to, as an ex-player, you've got to question sometimes that, you know, these boys come into Celtic and you think, well, I'm not going to get a game.
I know.
So why? I know it's money, but surely you want to play every week.
Yeah.
And do these boys think they're going to come and take Griffiths' place? Because it's not going to happen. Ryan Christie's not going to take Griffiths' place.
No.
And you've got to think, when he's playing one up front, there's a queue of strikers. So you've got to...
So maybe the thing is, though, Frank, when you signed for Celtic, did you think for yourself, you had the belief that you were going to play in the team when you signed, so maybe these boys have got that too. What they believe is, I am good enough. I'm going there because I'm going to show them I'm going to be in the team. So rather than think, you know, they won't be told when they're signing, by the way, you're not going to get a game here. They'll be signing because, well, we've had you watched, we really rate you, we think you could be a great player for us. Would you sign for us? Yes. And then with that, what you're getting told in that respect, I lie to the fact you think I'm good enough for here. That's why you signed, isn't it?
OK, let's bring you the latest scores across the Premiership, because Celtic are leading by 2-0 in that Premiership match. Elsewhere, Dundee United 1, Hearts 1. Hearts down to 10 men. Kilmarnock 0, Dundee 0. Just no breakthrough there for Laura Brannan to report on. Ross County 2, Hamilton 1, and St Johnstone 1, Motherwell 1. That's how it looks at the moment as far as we are concerned. Over the course of the afternoon, we'll also look ahead to those 2 thrilling matches in the Championship. Let's look at the Championship for today's games. Morton 0, Falkirk 1, Raith Rovers 2, Livingston 0, St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 0. And Hibs Alloa and Queen of the South Rangers takes place tomorrow. Into League 1, Airdrieonians 1, Stranraer 1, Brecon City 1, Dunfermline 2, and Cowdenbeath 2, Peterhead 3. And in League 2, it's Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 1, Clyde 2, Berwick Rangers 1, East Fife 1, Stirling Albion 0, East Stirlingshire 0, and an Athletic 1, and Montrose 3, Elgin City 0. The FA Cup could have a shock on the hands of Tony Pulis, because Reading are leading by 2-1. There was a 0-0 between Arsenal and Hull. That's going to a replay. Watford 1, Leeds United 0, and Bournemouth against Everton is a 5:15 kick-off in the FA Cup. At Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy, and you can give us your thoughts on your team today. You can follow us on peterandruffy.com throughout the week, and join us Monday to Friday 7 o'clock on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow, and on the Saturday for the 4-hour special, where we keep you up to date with all the events across all 4 divisions in Scotland. And I think the main one, Ruffy, is Dundee United 1, Hearts 1. Everybody looking and wondering if there's a little twist to finish this game.
Yeah, Dundee United's problem hasn't been able to see out games, particularly when they're in a tight situation. They don't seem to have that match winner. I see Billy Mackay was on the bench. I don't know if he'd make any difference in the last 10 minutes. But again, Mix will be saying, look, in the first half we had chances, 2 or 3 chances. Goalkeeper had good saves. Going down to 10 men, you would expect to go on and win the game. Maybe it's pressure, could be anything. But again, you know, if it finishes 1 each, still gives them a wee bit of belief, but if they were to lose it, no, it's gone. But so the next 7 or 8 minutes are very important for them.
Yep, and if there's a goal there for Dundee United, what a finish to the show it's going to be, Mac. It's going to be absolutely sensational to see Ruffy relive the old samba dancing from 1982. It's going to be...
Is he doing it with his clothes on? I never heard the bet.
Absolutely,
Is it clothes on?
I keep clothes on, please.
To be perfectly honest with you, we prefer a Parker on the duffel coat as well. But I love Mac has just got those one-liners, as the dance from the Jungle Book suggesting it's Baloo the bear in the corner there. It's just brilliant, Mac, the way you operate. Kid on your friends and then bang, left hook right on Ruffy's chin. But it's still 1-1, so the dance is a long way off right now, because the 10 men of Hearts have scored a wonder goal from Jamie Walker into the roof of the net. And again, significantly, Ruffy has mentioned that if Hearts were to win the game, then today is the day when he declares Dundee United will be a championship team. And the worrying thing, Gordon Smith, on a serious note, is some people have suggested it could be a long way back for Dundee United to try and get out of that division.
Yeah, because there is a scenario there where, and we've seen the history of it, people who get relegated, you think they're going to come back up because they're a Premiership team. St Mirren's a good example from last year. They come up and now they're struggled and they've had to change their manager. They're fighting still at this stage for a playoff spot, but they're well down the division. Other than you'd automatically have thought they'd been up there fighting. I mean, Hearts were relegated on a points system, whereas Hibs went down because of the playoff and all that, and then they've struggled. They're now in with a chance this year. Possibly for them, it could be a playoff scenario. So, Dundee United going down there. This depends whether the chairman is going to stay on. I know the fans are now saying they want him out, but his family have invested a lot of money in the club. They have spent money. I know they've had some of it back now because of the transfers. But in the end of the day, he and his father, worked for years for Dundee United to try and take them forward. And whether they would look at it and say, well, we need to keep this squad of players we've got here, keep the standard up, so that they believe that they can actually come up in 1 year.
I can't remember, was his dad much better than him?
Yes.
Running the club? Yeah, yes. I think he was, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there's listen, when you're a figurehead of a club, it's very difficult to remain popular for the whole duration of your tenure in charge. But I think the feeling of both men, I think, to be fair to them, they are football people. They have Dundee United's best interests at heart, but they are different in personality. Eddie Thompson to his son Stephen Thompson. Whether one is your flavour or one is not, I think you've got to look at the job. United have wiped out the debt. They are on a sound financial footing. They've got it wrong with the manager. They've got it wrong with a number of things, including, I think, Ruffy, to be fair, I thought Stephen Thompson's statement was, not a good choice to make in midweek.
No, I think you're right, Peter, but when you're owning the club, and as Gordon said there, you put so much money into it and so much effort. Yeah, you don't come across PR-wise, but I think there is a breaking point, and he'll not be the first owner. I think we all saw what was her name down at Norwich. Who just lost the plot as well. And sometimes you feel when you sometimes when you feel as if you've done everything you can and you're being let down.
Yeah, I'll tell you, your Hearts have had a great chance just to win it in the last seconds. Nicholson was in the middle. Dowda decided to go on his own, and he shot the ball straight at the Japanese goalkeeper for United, Kawashima. Still 1-1, full time at New St Mirren Park, or the St Mirren 2021 Stadium. Let's go and hear from Derek Clark.
Yeah, full time here in Paisley. It's finished. St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 0. A Lawrence Shanklin strike midway through the second half as a shining light on an otherwise dull 90 minutes of football. We had to wait until the 63rd minute for the breakthrough. David Clarkson played a neat pass into the on loan Aberdeen man, who fired past Mark Brown into the far corner. Clarkson himself should have doubled the Buddies' lead just moments later, but he blazed over the bar from just 10 yards out. Dumbarton competed well, but just didn't test Jamie Langfield enough. Their best chance probably came in the first half when Gregor Buchanan had a goal-bound header cleared off the line, while Tom Walsh had a curling effort that just flashed wide in the second half. It wasn't pretty, and you can see why both teams are struggling at the bottom half of the table, but Alex Ray will be delighted with the 3 points that keeps them within a chance of reaching that final playoff place. It's finished here, St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 0.
A dramatic event at Tannadice. Let's go to Tannadice and hear from our man there, Craig Turnbull.
Scored in the final minute. Here's Paul Payton, an absolute stunning goal. The ball sat up nicely for him. It's 25 yards out. He's hit it right foot with a slight bit of slice on it, and it's beat Neil Alexander in the top corner. Absolutely fantastic goal, and that could mean huge for United's chances of staying in this division. It's Dun United 2, Hearts 1.
What about that? That is drama like, well, it's been a long time since we've witnessed anything like it. Wonder goal from Hearts, wonder goal from Dundee United, and suddenly Baloo the Bear is alive and well and ready for the big dance at the end of the programme. And Dundee United have just been reduced to 10 men. So United down to 10 men. There's still time left in this one. Celtic 3-0 up on Inverness Cali Thistle. So Maka, that game's done and dusted. 3-0.
That's finished. You would expect. I mean, it was a wake-up call coming off at half-time to your own supporters booing. So it's good that they've responded, and you know, I fancy them to get 3. When they turn up and play, Peter, you know, they can get goals.
Well, Ruffy will be delighted because St Johnstone have beaten Motherwell. Well, they're probably going to beat Motherwell. They've just scored. So that's Motherwell and Hamilton both losing when Dundee United are picking up points. So, Ruffy, you might be right.
It's incredible, and I'll tell you.
That music starts out here.
Yeah, it looks as if we've got full time at Kilmarnock. Let's go. I think Griffiths has got his second. Let's go to Kilmarnock, Laura Brannan.
Yeah, full time here at Rugby Park, and Lee Clark has started his career with a goalless draw and a share of the points with Dundee. Josh McGuinness had 2 efforts cleared off the line in the first half. It was Kevin Holt that came to the rescue first before Nick Ross denied the home side. In the second half, picked up exactly where the first half left off. It was fairly even Stevens. Lee Clark then brought on Higginbotham and Boyd on the hour mark, but it was Dundee who came closest to breaking the deadlock. A fantastic curling effort from Kane Hemmings was denied by an even more outstanding one-handed save by Jamie McDonald. So it finishes here goalless, with neither side managing to break that deadlock in the end. Kilmarnock 0, Dundee 0.
No way through there for Lee Clark, despite making a couple of interesting substitutions to try and get the win. Higginbotham and Boyd, but they couldn't find their way through. So Celtic, Lee Griffiths scoring another goal, and in the end it's a comfortable win for Celtic against Inverness. It looks as if St Johnstone have got the winning goal in their match as well. 2-1 up on Motherwell, Ruffy.
Yeah, and again, the no wins in 10 for St Johnstone. That would be a good one for them today. We all thought Motherwell, who have been pretty inconsistent, but again, you know, it just brings them all jam-packed together again. You know, I don't think anybody, even in the playoff position, will be struggling tonight.
Okay, lots to talk about. Full-time report coming from Tannadice, and of course we'll hear from the St Mirren boss, Alec Ray, as well. Join us after the break. Ruffy is limbering up. He'll be stretching, getting ready for the big dance after the Dundee United win. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Ruffy is on the verge of celebrating, but not quite yet, because, would you believe, they're still playing at Tannadice, Gordon Smith?
Yeah, I know, it's unbelievable. I don't know why, but because of incidents that have happened, the game being stretched out, but they played 6 minutes over the 90 now, so Hearts in a corner just a minute or two ago, but could be, I mean, it was definitely a tremendous timing of the winner for Dundee United, if that does turn out to be the result, because I don't see Hearts scoring now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still ongoing, and it does indeed. And the whistle has just gone, actually. Let's go to Tannadice, Craig Turnbull. Okay, we're going to have to come back to Craig Turnbull. Can't quite hear from Craig at the moment. I'll just go back to him in just a second. But they've won by 2-1, Ruffy. In the end, it's a wonder goal from Payton that seals it.
Yeah, and he came up with one a couple of weeks ago. It just gives them some life, you know, in the for the rest of the season. You know, they're still a long away from everybody else, but certainly winning games, as Gordon said. Hamilton, Motherwell, it's all went against them. All it's done is close the gap, but I think they need to, I don't know what the fixtures are like just now, but they need to come up against these teams very quickly.
Yeah, let's go back to Craig Turnbull at Tannadice.
As I was saying, Peter, it's Dundee United 2, Hearts 1, the final score here at Tannadice. Paul Payton's wonder goal has breathed life into United's survival chances of the Premiership. They're now just 9 points behind 11th place Kilmarnock. It was Payton's first goal of the season, and what a strike it was, 30 yards out and a volley right into the top corner. He's had injury problems all season, so he'll be absolutely delighted with that. And well, this game had everything. It had red cards and goals. Jordan McGee was sent off for Hearts early in the first half, and United took advantage of that with Guy Demel getting a header in just before the break. But it was an absolute terrific response from Hearts. It was a lovely goal from Jamie Walker, left foot, fourth of the season, drilled into the top corner, giving Kawashima no chance. Ryan Dow then thought he'd given United the lead in the second half when his chip over Alexander in the goal bounced, and it looked to heading towards the net, but it bounced over the bar. But United were not to be denied, and it was Paul Payton with an absolute terrific strike, giving Alexander no chance. Anye had been sent off for a second yellow right towards the end, but that failed to stop United from winning this game. They'll be absolutely delighted to head to Ross County next week in high spirits. Finished here at Tannadice, Dundee United 2, Hearts 1.
Drama at Tannadice, but in the end, a moment of respite from the criticism for Mixu Patalainen. 3 points and maybe game on in the revival that Ruffy was talking about. A good 2-1 win there for Dundee United. You can give us your thoughts at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Get on to peterandruffy.com and give us your thoughts on the full-time scores. We're going to look ahead to Hibs and Rangers as well tomorrow in the Championship, but we'll give you all the scores coming up next. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. It's one of those rare occasions on this programme this season where we talk about a Dundee United win, 2-1 against Hearts. Hearts down to 10 men. And United took full advantage before eventually going down to 10 men in the dying seconds. I think there was quite a significant amount of injury time added on, and that really was down to the fact that John Rankin had been knocked out for a period of time from a free kick, which I think hit him full in the head. Let's hope that he is okay. But let's get the full times across the country. Premiership, first of all, in Scotland. Celtic 3, Inverness, Cally Thistle 0. Lee Griffiths with a double, one with his left foot, one with his right foot, and Gary Mackay-Stephen as well for Celtic today. Dundee United 2, Hearts 1. The winner from Paul Payton, and a screamer it was too, to send the Tangerines home happy. Kilmarnock 0, Dundee 0. It was just a flat game. Lee Clark's side couldn't get the all-important home win in his first real game in charge. Ross County 2, Hamilton Accies 1. Big win there for Jim McIntyre's side. And St Johnstone right at the death again. How many times have Motherwell lost a late goal? St Johnstone 2, Motherwell 1. In that match, Scobie with the winner. In the Championship, Morton 0, Falkirk 1, Wraith Rovers 2, Livingston 0, and St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 0. Into League 1, Airdrieonians 1, Stranraer 1, Brecon City 1, Dunfermline 2, and Cowdenbeath 2, Peterhead 3. And in Scottish League 2, it's Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 1, Clyde 2, Berwick Rangers 1, East Fife 1, Stirling Albion 0, East Stirlingshire 0, and an Athletic 1, and Montrose 3, Elgin City 1. And the FA Cup today, there are a number of matches tomorrow, but the FA Cup, I think there's been a big shock there that we're talking about. Reading have knocked out West Bromwich Albion, Gordon Smith.
Yeah, that's a good win for Reading, no doubt about that. West Brom people will be a bit upset. I mean, losing to a team a lower division as well, but I think that they were quite lucky to get through against Peterborough, West Brom. So you have to say that they're not been in great cup form, that's for sure. But I say Reading will be delighted.
I'm looking at the coupon for this week, the treble, and I think it's fair to say, lads, that I let you down with my suggestion that Hearts were going to do it. In the end, Macca, United have actually responded to not only the criticism from John Rankin, but the chairman as well.
It was criticism from the chairman, but I felt John Rankin was honest in what he was saying. He was honest and saying sometimes you've got to look at yourselves and you've got to look in the mirror and say, did I put in a full 90 minutes and did I give it everything? Did I leave anything in the changing room? And you've got to do that for yourself before anyone can tell you what you're doing. So I think John Rankin, I thought it was one of these statements that he came out with, and I think that might have galvanised him more than anything. Yep. That one of the teammates can come out and have a go at his fellow players.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you love football, it doesn't matter what level you're playing it at. If you score goals, if you keep playing as long as you can, then that's what it's all about. And Bobby Petta, former Celtic player, made his debut for Rossvale Juniors today as well. You see, if you love your football, you just keep playing for as long as possible. We'll get reaction to the results coming up next. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday football show on an afternoon when Lee Griffiths scores a double, one with the right, one with the left, and sends Celtic on to a 3-0 victory over Inverness. Cally Thistle, and increases their lead over Aberdeen at the top of the Premiership. At the other end, there's life in the old dog yet, and I'm talking, of course, about Dundee United. Ruffy, 2-1 win over Hearts.
Yep, I'm sure the dressing room will be a happy place to be. They'll put everything behind them that's happened this week and just move on to the next game. I think, unfortunately for them, it's an away game. I think they'd have preferred maybe their game in hand, which I think is at home. So they'll just have to go on with it. But as the guys have been in football long enough, when you believe that something can happen, stranger things have happened, but they've still got a long, long way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kilmarnock will realise, and Lee Clark especially, that there's a real battle now. Never mind the playoff. As Ruffy mentioned there, Dundee United have just given themselves a little bit of a lifeline, albeit that Kilmarnock picked up a point against Dundee today, Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, they went level. They picked up and went to 28 points, same as Partick. But Partick now have 3 games in hand over Kilmarnock. And so I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, 4 is it? Yeah. So it is 4. So I'm thinking to myself, I believe then Partick should be okay. I think they should pick up enough points to get them away from there. Motherwell, I felt if they'd got something today, they could have been in a safer position. But I think Motherwell have been dragged into it now, definitely, along with Hamilton. Both those teams losing today put them in line with Kilmarnock. As I say, I think it's probably those 3. Partick should be able to do something with their games in hand, but it still is tight, there's no doubt about it. And I still don't think Dundee United will be able to do it, but it's not finished yet.
If Mark McGee's not in a darkened room right now, Frank McAvenny just thumping his head off the wall at Motherwell's late capitulation again, it's a regular occurrence.
Well, it's something, they're fighting for their lives, and it's just what we're talking about goalkeepers, but it's a lack of concentration. It's its fault. And you've got to keep going. I mean, there's one game, 96 minutes, Peter. You've got to keep your concentration. It's not for 90 minutes. You've got to keep going. And that's what Mark's, he'll be really annoyed about that. To be honest, I thought it was a tough ask to go up to St Johnstone because they beat Dundee United midweek, but they didn't play particularly well. And St Johnstone's, they're a decent team. And he got up to Perth and get a result. It was a hard ask, I thought. So, but they made a game of it. He'll take, as Mark will tell you, he'll take something out of the game. You've got to take the positives and he'll take it and go on. I just think there's about 4 of them in a dogfight now. I think it's great for the supporters. Not if you're a Motherwell supporter, but supporters around the football supporters in general, because there's a fight down there now, and that'll keep it going right to the end.
Yeah, Ronnie Dyla after the game, wasn't too happy with the first half performance against Inverness. Said he knew it was going to be tough, but they played too many passes sideways, didn't really penetrate Inverness's back line. But in the second half, better performance from Celtic. Once again, glowing in his praise of Lee Griffiths, who pops up with a double for Celtic. Gary Mackay-Stevens scoring the other, and of course some debutants in there as well. But way too early still to be talking of the title, according to the Celtic manager there. So a good win. That increases the advantage over Aberdeen to 6 points. I'm going to go to St Mirren Park to speak to the St Mirren boss, Alec Ray, who will be well happy with the win over Dumbarton today, albeit just by a solitary goal. Alec, delighted that you could join us on the programme. First of all, give us your thoughts on that victory today.
Obviously, very happy, Peter. I think it's been a while since they last won 3 home games in the bounce here. Up until a couple of weeks ago, we hadn't won a home game in 8 months. So to get 3 in the bounce is obviously pleasing. It wasn't a particularly free-flowing game today. The first half was relatively poor, but we asked for a higher tempo in the second half, and the goal which actually secured us the 3 points was an excellent work goal by both strikers, and Shankland's buried it. So I'm absolutely delighted from in terms of the application and effort that they put in today.
Yeah, what do you think has been the biggest change since you've arrived there? What are you getting more of out of the players, Alec?
Do you mean other than myself turning up?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, listen, Peter. One of the things that when I first came in, it was within 24 hours I had my first game and managed to get a 2-0 win at Alloa. And then in the second game we got absolutely battered 4-1 by Livingston here. And one of the things that was kind of recognisable that day was that with the kind of very disjointed, between the lines, lack of organisation on that performance. So we went to work on them in terms of we wanted to try and work within a shape. And from that point, the results have been relatively good. But I think a lot is down to the kind of atmosphere that we've created, Peter, about the place. It's quite positive. And I think the boys are actually enjoying it. And I think when you start winning games also, it's obviously a boost.
Yeah, I've got to ask you this. It's how important was it to get the win today, Alec, when you consider that you've got Rangers, Falkirk and Wraith Rovers in your next 3 games?
Peter, I actually think the next 5 games are really difficult. If I was looking the other day and I said to Faz that this was one of the most important games because we really do have some tough fixtures coming up in the next few weeks. And I think the 3 points obviously gives us another step in the right direction. And it gives you a wee bit of confidence going into these next few games. We're very realistic as well, Peter, because the thing is obviously expectations rise because we've managed to get a few wins. But we need to try and keep a lid on that because we're obviously aware we've got some boys coming back from suspension and hopefully get some injuries back over the next couple of weeks because we had to really shuffle a lot of bodies today.
Yeah, and just a final point on that, I know what type of player you were and the type of commitment you showed on the park. How vital is it that you've managed to get Jim Goodwin back there as an available player?
Yeah, but one of the things, Peter, we've actually put Jim in today and it was just because of the body really. Jim's only played 70 minutes in the last 3 months. So, in all honesty, he's not at the level that he would probably like, and we threw him in. But his desire, he took one in the face as well, got to smash someone, and it's that kind of commitment that's actually his desire to get there. But we really need to try and get him up to speed to see the best of Jim Goodwin and. No, it's obviously a really important 3 points because we've obviously got a big charity night at the Sandy House Golf Club, so bring your A game to the table, please.
Yes, absolutely. We will try our absolute best. We were dreading the thought of coming out with you tonight after a defeat, but thankfully you'll be a happy chappie. Alec, best of luck for the next 5 games, crucial ones at that. Thanks for joining us.
Well done, Alec.
Top man, Alec Ray there, a happy St Mirren man. And I think, again, Robbie emphasised the fact that there's been a change. Suddenly the St Mirren fans are watching a team fighting, battling for their manager and getting results as well.
Peter, it doesn't matter what team you go to as a new manager, if you can turn it round and get the fans on board and get the players on board, because let's not kid ourselves, the St Mirren crowd have had a terrible 2 or 3 years, and now they've got a wee bit of belief. They've got a team winning games, and it doesn't matter how you win them, you're winning them. And now he's seen the rewards of that. He's saying the place is a much happier place to walk into in the morning, and that's the same with any club. Dundee United will be the same. All the players will be desperate to go into training on Monday, after the result today. That's just football.
Yeah. I mean, they never moved up the table today. All they did was get closer to other people. I mean, they were 4 points behind Morton. But they've got now a point behind. The way the results went today, Wraith, I think, got themselves back in the top 4 today with that win, and they're probably quite pleased that their rivals down that area, Queen of South, are playing against Rangers tomorrow. So they'll be thinking that they can stay in 4th place. I think if Queen of South, if Rangers were to win that game.
Yeah, I think we thought maybe. With a real push that St Mirren could make the playoffs. I think it was maybe asking a wee bit too much of them, Micah.
I think so. Look, Alec will be saying, look, let's just go and see, give it last half dozen games and we'll see how it goes when we get there. He'll not be promising anything. I think it's just they lost too many games at the beginning of the season, far too many. They were dropping points everywhere and they just weren't the team that you expect to go, and I thought they would challenge. I really did think they would challenge up there with your Hibs. I thought they're going down, okay, take a step back, get some new blood in and go again, because they're a Premiership club, St Mirren. So I'm delighted for Alex that he's turned them round, and it's great. And as I keep saying, it's when there's a good atmosphere in the dressing room, you start to tend that they go out and they play better football. They're enjoying it, and that's what happens. They've won 3 games in a bounce. I didn't realise they hadn't won 3 home games in the trot. So that's a good landmark for them.
Yep. Let's look at some of the other significant results in the Premiership as well, Ruffy, before we look ahead to what Hibs and Rangers have in prospect tomorrow. Ross County, good win over Hamilton.
Oh, I mean, it's a fantastic win after going down to 10 men and then Hamilton getting the goal, you know, and then bouncing back again, and that shows you a lot of character that they've got at the club, and they've just had a fantastic season, and I'm sure we're getting to that time of the year when we start voting for Manager of the Year, and I know everybody's got different circumstances, but Jim McIntyre must be in the top 4 anyway in that league.
Do you agree with that, Gordon?
Yeah, I would say so in terms of the sort of season they've had. Robbie says it was a great comeback today. That shows you a lot of resilience. Hamilton will be a bit gutted about it. Their form's not been great, Hamilton, but to be losing in a game when they've got the opposition are down to 10 men. We thought it might happen to Dundee United at one stage because Hearts scored when they had 10 men as well. They were 1-0 down, scored, but Dundee United came back too and showed a lot of resilience, and that's what Ross County have done, and they've continued to do that, and they've got themselves up in that top part of the league, and I think, you know, that they've gone clear. I think clear 4th today, and I think they'll stay there. I think Ross County will end up being 4th in the league this year.
Yeah, it would be a tremendous achievement for them, and of course that win for St Johnstone suddenly pulls them within a point of Ross County as well, and that was needed because they hadn't had a win in 9, Ruffy.
Yeah, and I listened to the manager in an interview, and obviously things have changed up there. Obviously, even just one player like a Halloran leaving can put a lot of people on the downer, but I think that the biggest thing for me has been the captain, the boy Mackay, out until the end of the season. So for them to dig in there and get that result, that could just turn their whole season round as well.
Yep, and the feedback from the St Johnstone players, boys are buzzing with the result, and of course hopefully we can now kick on and get a result against Partick Thistle on Tuesday night. So clearly St Johnstone just starting to look up again and try and get as high a position as they possibly can in the Premiership. Good win for Celtic today, 3-0 over Inverness Cali Thistle, but of course Dundee United, the fight back is on with that late show, and the 2-1 win over Heart of Midlothian. Not been a good week for the Jambos, Gordon.
No, it hasn't been. I mean, you were talking earlier on, it's quite funny, you were saying Robbie Nielsen's now begin under a bit of criticism, and that's going to continue on, I would imagine, after today. I mean, I know the ordering off is making a big factor in it, sort of thing, but you know, it's an ordering off against a team that's sitting bottom of the league and poor. That doesn't mean to say you should lose the game automatically when you go to 10 men, because Dundee United haven't been beaten, haven't won many games, and you've seen Ross County have come back and won today with we only having 10. So that will be. People will be looking at that and thinking if Hearts begin to slip away a little bit now, and you just wonder whether that they'll pick up their momentum again. I mean, I think they're going to finish 3rd. They've got a good clear points lead over the nearest teams. But as I say, I think losing the cup to Hibs and then losing to the bottom team in the league in the same week will bring criticism.
The thing is with Robbie, he's not really been tested. I don't mean that in the wrong way. He's new to management. He's done a great job. He was on a roll in the Championship. He just stormed through it.
Yeah.
He's come up to the Premiership, and they've just took it into the Premiership, and they've run over the top of teams really. And this is the first dip, which listen, all managers, whether you're new or not, you've got to go through that. And I think that'll show what character he's got.
I know that was a double booking today, but I mean, I don't know the actual table. I think Hearts have got a lot of ill discipline. You know, there've been lots of games where they've had ordering offs, and you know, maybe it's just because they just can't get to grips with handling. You know, if you're not winning games, they're just referees or whatever. But I think their crime count is quite high this year.
I'll tell you the worrying aspect of football at times. We want to see players celebrate, we want to see fans enjoying themselves. We certainly don't want to see some negative stories attached to football, and there's definitely one negative story emerging from the FA Cup down south, where Reading managed to beat West Bromwich Albion by 3-1. Chris Brunt was over exchanging some angry words with some West Brom fans, and I think he was hit by a coin, allegedly.
I think we figured out what it was. He went over. They get beaten. He went over to the invalid, you know, where all the invalids are, and the kids in the wheelchair. And he went over to give one of the kids his shirt, which is fine. They've been beat. and one it was his own supporters chucked a coin or something and hit him in the eye. So it's wrong. You don't do that. You don't do that at all. But you know, he was over there, and you know, Chris Brunt, he wears his heart on his sleeve. The boy, he's every game he's full committed, and he just went to give one of the handicapped kids a jersey. And you don't deserve that.
I wonder at what point, and it beggars belief sometimes, Gordon, at what point someone, a fan, an individual, I loathe to call them fans, but I wonder at what point an individual thinks it'll be okay to throw something that could do some serious damage to any other person.
I know this is just it's a mindset of some people. They just have no idea what they can do. And even, you know, I wouldn't even care if whether it was one of your own players or one of the opposition players. It should not be getting done. And that's why they do really need the proper cameras and CCTV television footage of these sort of incidents so that they can look at it. Because I mean, they did have film of the crowd, and surely if you get the footage on the crowd, you can see somebody who actually does throw it, and you can identify them, and maybe you'll be able to put them. I know they were the away team, so it'll be hard to actually, you know, say it's not as if it's a season ticket holder that's going to be getting caught for it, but they're in the away support. But surely there should be some sort of footage where they can pull up the person that's done it.
Yeah, Ruffy, we never like to follow up one negative story with another, but there's a real worry for Falkirk's on loan player Conor McGrandles. Morton 0, Falkirk 1, but it looks as if he's got a suspected broken leg, Peter Houston has revealed. What a blow for that young talented boy.
Yeah, it's amazing, you know, when your career's going along there, and he's definitely one for the future, and something like that happens, you've just got to hope that it's not as bad as what it sounds, and the recovery, he comes back a player. I know it's a side issue, but I just please don't make it because it's a... Well, they were away today, weren't they? So it was on grass, so we're not going to go through all that scenario again. But no, I think the basic thing is, you know, you don't want to see anything like that happening to any player, particularly a young one.
They've got the boy Grant out as well, haven't they? Falkirk, they're missing the boy Grant. He's a decent player.
Fortunately,
his dad,
we hope for the best for the boy, because one of the things you do find nowadays is that broken legs are a lot better cured and repaired, and players can come back, rather than ligament damage is sometimes more serious.
Yeah, it's been a crazy old day of football here. I mean, we've had Ruffy battling away and fighting and slugging it out on the ropes early on in the programme, and then suddenly he just comes back fighting. United get the goal. He's a happy man. We've had the Chris Brunt issue. We've had players getting injured. We've even had a banner from Dundee United fans suggesting Stephen Thompson, enough is enough, Thompson out. And you can't keep football fans happy. There was a banner today at the Bayern Munich game saying Pep was never our thing. I don't know about you, Maka, but I would pay to see any of Pep Guardiola's sides.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you just hear people and the top names in the game now saying the young boys, you know, that's going to be huge names in football, and they're saying, I'd love to play in one of Pep's teams because he's going to make you a better player, and it's just, it must be just wonderful to go and train every morning, you know. And there was a photo the other day I seen. He was having a go at, when he was at Barcelona, and it was from I met Graham Hunter, the boy Graham Hunter, who does all the Spanish football, and he had a clip. It was Pyle years ago at Barcelona. He was 1 minute late coming onto the training ground. He was there, but he was just coming out to the training ground. He was a minute late, and Pep's like giving him a right, you know. Even though he wasn't late getting to train, he was late getting on the pitch. So he must be like, you do it my time, come down here. We've only got so many hours to train, so let's do it. And it must be magnificent to go in every morning.
Would that be your kind of manager? You know, with time?
I don't know about the fines. Would have been, I don't know it depends what kind of fines he gives you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you right now, you'd have been skint. It's as simple as that. The other point here is we talk on this programme every week about levels of players and teams and the expectation. You know, Pep Guardiola's delivered some wonderful memories for Barcelona fans, but he goes to Bayern Munich. They play a different style of football. It's times a little bit different from the Bayern Munich way, but he still wins trophies. But in a sense, I think you're hiring a manager at that level just to win the Champions League. That's the remit.
It probably is, yeah. I mean, I think Manchester United just now, though, would be looking to have somebody in, or Man City even, that just can you know, win them the Championship rather than even the Champions League. I think they just want to have a manager who brings a level of football and has them competing for trophies. That's why he's done so well. That's why I think that he is the manager that a lot of people want, because he has turned teams around. He got the best out of Barca, and no doubt about that. And Bayern, what was clever about what he did at Bayern was he got them at a work rate that they hadn't really been into before, and more physical than Barca, to be fair, because Bayern had bigger guys, but he got them working really hard, and he upped the work rate by quite. Somebody said to me once that the actual running had been upped by about a third in terms of the amount of running and work they did off and on the ball. The players were always working harder, and that's why he got success there too. So I think that somebody coming to an English club, there's a lot of talent there, but maybe it's little things that will change that about.
I think the owners are saying, we spent that much money, we deserve to be entertained, and that's what they're going to get with him. It's going to be a joy to watch, and Man United have to compensate that somehow, and we think we know how that's going to happen. I mean, that'll be great, because they had great battles in Spain, didn't they, Mourinho with him?
That's
so
right.
that'll be
the other thing about it as well,
Frank,
is that he will. The other side of it is that the attraction for maybe players too. Looking at top level players, and they see both Mourinho and him and thinking,
I want to play. Well, that's the thing. Man City's not a problem, but with Man United, I heard somebody saying this morning that the players don't go to Man United now because they're not the big team. But if Mourinho was to go there, he can get players.
He'll attract them in.
Players will go in.
Well, it'd be amazing to see how much both of them dismantle the two teams that they're going to.
Man United will be that'll be cleared out.
Well, let's first of all draw your attention to two games that are taking place tomorrow. We're talking about entertaining football. I'm not sure either manager will be caring much about the entertainment factor. The result will be the most important. We had Jack Ross on the programme in midweek talking about the game coming up against Hibs. And I think the general feeling from Jack Ross and the Alloa side, who are trying to escape relegation, Ruffy, was that they're showing some real good battling qualities, and they might cause Hibs a few problems. But Hibs are at home. This is a game they have to win, because I would suggest there'll be a few people keeping them up to date with what's happening at Dumfries and Palmerston Park with Queen of the South against Rangers.
Yeah, I think the manager came in and told us just the reality where Alloa are, training Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and then coming up against the likes of Rangers and Hibs and the full-time sides. These players will take a lot of encouragement for last week, and they'll go into the game, knowing that what they did the week before, they've got a chance of doing it again. But I think Hibs are on a wee bit of a roll now. The pitch will be full size, which will be against them as well. So I can't see anything less than a Hibs winning that one. Yeah,
it's strange. It was good listening there and you guys laughing, but it was one of the things that Jack Ross emphasised to us in midweek. They haven't got a real cutting edge in the final third, but obviously from his point of view, looking at the fitness of the players, he just felt it would have been beneficial to them to play in a smaller pitch and give as much energy as they possibly can. They're up against the Hibs side, Gordon, more than capable of stretching them at every opportunity. Yeah, that'll be the problem, because maybe even psychologically he's told these players you don't have the fitness levels of the opposition you're playing against. So you think they might get into the game against Hibs being a little bit tentative, because they think, well, we're going to get run about here. So there is a factor there. Maybe he's thinking, though, from home games, though, they'll pick up enough points that will have them up their challenge, because it's really I think it'll only be Livingston that Alloa can catch. I mean, it'll be a case of whether they can get above Livingston for that relegation spot. They would then be in the playoff position, and I think that's at best where Alloa will get this season. I don't see them getting any higher up than playoff. Yeah. As far as Rangers are concerned, Macca, certainly, the disappointment would have been the game against Alloa in the Championship. Over and above that, they had to battle back against Kilmarnock, and Nicky Clark scored a superb winning goal to get them through in the Cup. But it came at the expense of Martin Waghorn. Now, Danny Wilson, interestingly enough, yesterday said he reckons that Mark Warburton's side has got more than enough in reserve to suffer the loss of Waghorn. Well, they'll lose the goals. The boys have been scoring goals, that's for sure. But, I think some of the boys that will come in, Nicola and players like Clark, and they come in, they've got pace about them, so it changes the outlook of the Rangers team, because they've got pace up front, which Waghorn, he scores goals, but he's not got that
blistering pace that some of the other boys at Rangers have got. So it's changed it, and the manager's got to say, you know, forget about last week. It's gone. You can't change it, and let's just go. And I don't think we'll slip up. I don't think we'll slip up tomorrow, and I don't think we'll slip up much more come end of the season. It's between the two of them. It's going to be a great tussle between the two of them. I think Hibs and Rangers are going to go toe to toe to the end of the season.
Yeah, it's okay saying they will whack on with the amount of goals he's got.
They will miss
and we
goals,
all know the quality of Clark, and we all know the quality of Miller. But these are two strikers he never played. You know, if he had his best team, Clark and Miller weren't in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what makes you a good manager. Sometimes you've got to go, oh, sorry, I wasn't putting you in the team, but you're in my plans now.
Yeah, absolutely. Where have we heard that before? Listen, before we discuss that in greater detail before the end of the programme, we will go back over all the results for you and, of course, give you a look at the league tables as well. Let's go to Rugby Park because Laura Brannan has been listening to both managers after a disappointing 0-0, but I think Lee Clark might take quite a few positives out of it, Laura.
Exactly that. There's a lot of positives to take out of it. He highlighted the tempo, the desire that his side showed. Did express a few frustrating sides not getting the goal, but he highlighted the defensive capabilities of McHattie and Hodgson, how well they've done recently, and he's looking forward to just now having a free week to really get into the stride of things here at Rugby Park and get to know his players properly. An interesting point also, he was saying that he spoke to Josh McGuinness as well about his Euro 2016 ambitions and how he wants him to push on and be a star for the Northern Ireland side. He doesn't want him to be a substitute come the summer, and he wants him to prove his worth now for Kilmarnock, so it has that impact come the summer. Paul Hartley on the other side, well, he felt it was very much a game of two halves and Dundee were better in the second half. He says that was very much understandable considering Kilmarnock's new manager and the situation they're in just now. But he felt as though that his side just really didn't have a cutting edge in the final third. He did stress the importance, however, of having a clean sheet and how well the defence in general has done recently, and he says a lot of that is down to Darren O'Dea, so a lot of praise for the Irish defender there.
Absolutely, thanks to Laura there. It's good to have Darren O'Dea at the back line, Ruffy keeping a clean sheet for Dundee.
If you can,
we're skating a fine line today, I have to tell you.
Yeah, if you can come out of most games with a clean sheet, then it's always something you can... It's always a good sign.
Dear. I have to say, there's a moment, Maka, when you look at something and think, did I hear right there? But nevertheless,
I think it was the accent.
For a 0-0 draw. Laura's been on top for him today. Just got us on the hop there, but nevertheless, Kilmarnock against Dundee 0-0. You want to see goals, but it didn't happen today. But Lee Clark will be happy with that. Just on that point, we talk about it, continually. Is it Kilmarnock and Hamilton, Gordon, for yourself in the playoff?
I think Motherwell are still there.
Yeah.
I think they are. Yeah, I think that they're a team that's capable of more, but Hamilton are not in great form. Motherwell are a bit inconsistent. Kilmarnock is I think what we need to wait and see was sometimes a team get a big boost from a new manager coming in, can make a big difference. All of a sudden things start to happen, so they could be the team that actually maybe start on a little run. That's a decent result for them today, considering they get beaten 4-0 the last time they played Dundee at home. But I still think that Partick are not out of it yet, but they have enough games in hand, I think, that can get them clear by picking up a few points in those games. So I would say those. I think Motherwell, Hamilton, and Kilmarnock.
Yeah, just on one brief point, Rocky. I know you mentioned that how critical it will be for Dundee United when they play against all the teams around them in the split. I still don't agree with you. I think they're gone, but I do think it will become unbelievably important for the likes of Hamilton, Kilmarnock, and Motherwell in those games.
Yeah, well, I keep going on about the split. The split's 15 points, and if they could get it down to 5 points, they're going to give themselves a chance.
Okay, we will have more reaction from the games today, not only in the Premiership, Championship, League 1 and League 2. You can give us your view at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy, and we'll be back with reaction from Tannadice, where Dundee United are celebrating that 2-1 win. We're going to go back and listen to the last 5 minutes of this program just to see if we heard it right. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff, Gordon Smith and Frank McAbenny with me here on the programme, and we're off to Tannadice because at Tannadice today Dundee United produced, well, a spirited performance and they managed to get all 3 points, a couple of really good goals for them. Craig Turnbull was up there listening to both managers. Well, first of all, the reaction from Mixu Patalainen, Craig.
Yeah, he believes that result today, Peter, shows that they have the character in the dressing room to stay up. He was admitted it was never nice to hear the criticism that he received earlier this week from the chairman and from various quarters, but he was delighted with the way they bounced back today.
Yep, and of course the flip side of that is Robbie Neilson.
Yeah, he was quite scathing of the referee. He said he was irked by the decision or the sending off. That's, I think, Hearts' 7th sending off this season, and he was not at all happy. He said that was key decisions which irked him, he believed, and he says that video replays show that McGee got the ball for that second yellow which he received. Spoke to the ref after the game, but wasn't too happy with what he had to say.
Yeah, overall in the 90 minutes and beyond in that game, Craig, do you feel and do some of the players sense that there's enough fight to get out of this mess?
I think they do, Peter. I think that Paul Payton goal was absolutely huge for Dundee United. Just the fact that, you know, it looked as though they were going to have to accept a draw against 10 men, but they kept going to the end and they showed the character. It's a tough run of fixtures they've got towards the split. They've got Ross County, Aberdeen at home, Motherwell away, and then they've got the Dundee derby, so it's testing times for United, and they'll really see whether they've got the bottle for the battle against those teams.
Okay, thanks to Craig Turnbull for giving us the reaction from both camps there, Mixu Patalainen and Robbie Neilson. Let's look at the scores then, the full-time results from the Premiership in Scotland. First of all, Celtic 3, Inverness Cali Thistle 0, Dundee United 2, Hearts 1, as we've just heard from Craig Turnbull, Kilmarnock 0, Dundee 0, Ross County 2, Hamilton 1, and St Johnstone 2, Motherwell 1. Let's have a look at the table. Give us your assessment overall, Ruffy, of top and bottom.
Well, certainly the bottom looks a wee bit healthier. We're looking at 11 points there. It could have been a lot worse than that. I think the pleasing thing will be that there were 2 teams never picked up anything. But as far as the top's concerned, yep, another difficult day for Celtic, but they come out again convincing winning. Hearts remains to be seen whether that they, go on a wee losing run just now. But for me, the encouraging team is Ross County, who have done remarkably well for this season.
It was interesting, Peter. I was looking at the fixtures coming up ahead for the teams that we're talking about could be in the battle at the bottom. And Kilmarnock's next 4 games are actually the top 4 teams in the league. Next 4, so they've got Ross County, Hearts, Aberdeen, and Celtic in their next 4 games. So that's a tough little spell for Kelly, and depending how the other teams are doing. I mean, they've all got hard games. When they're down that part of the table, it's all hard. But Kelly then have really got to do their business when they're playing the 4 top teams.
Yeah, let's look at the Championship. Of course, Rangers and Hibs in action tomorrow. Hibs at home to Alloa, Rangers off to Queen of the South. But it was Morton 0, Falkirk 1 today. Looks as if Conor McGrandles has picked up a broken leg, could be out for quite a while, and of course he's on loan from Norwich City. Raith Rovers 2, Livingston 0, and St Mirren 1, Dumbarton 0. And as we look at the Championship table, Macca, it's looking a lot healthier for St Mirren.
Well, it is, because we thought they were going to be down there at the beginning of the season. It didn't, they needed a change because they weren't winning games. They were getting run over, and Alec and Davies went in there and done a great job. I think he's just totally changed it. And as you said in the interview there, 3 home games, which is incredible to think that it's went that long without 3 home games. And St Mirren used to be a fortress at St Mirren Park. So that you've got to make your home games count, and if they can do that, they'll shoot up that table, because there's not many teams, that but I think they're all rather thereabouts. There's no one going to run away with it in the middle section of the league.
Yeah.
So I think they could scrape points off a lot of teams and get up above them.
I think there's 3 strong teams in the league, and then the rest, there's not much to them. And that's signified by the fact that if you look at the table, there's only 3 teams with a positive goal difference in that league, and that's the 3 top teams.
Yeah.
Everyone else has got a negative goal difference, which shows you that they are the 3 teams we've got there. Rangers, Hibs, and Falkirk are out on their own really this year.
Okay, into League One, and here's how the results all panned out. Airdrieonians 1, Stranraer 1, Brecon City 1, Dunfermline 2, Cowdenbeath 2, Peterhead 3, and of course Ayr United against Forfar has kicked off already. Still 0-0 in that one, the latest. There's the table. Dunfermline way out in front. Peterhead, I think, will be, Jim McInally, Ruffy, will be more than happy that they are going to be in the mix for the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think in his wildest dreams he'll think that he can catch Dunfermline. So the playoffs would be an ideal position. Ayr United really do need to win a game. They've went on a wee slump just now, but the 3 points in this game they're playing today would take the bit of the pressure off them.
League Two, the full-time results are Broth 0, Queen's Park 1, Clyde 2, Berwick Rangers 1, East Fife 1, Stirling Albion 0, East Stirlingshire 0, Annan Athletic 1, and Montrose 3, Elgin City 1. There's the table there, Gordon Smith, and well, it's interesting, tight, still not resolved at the top, and at the bottom, all the way to the middle of the table, it's very tight as well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's the tightest league. That it's unbelievable. I mean, it's now 21 points of a difference from top to bottom. It was 20 before we started the day. It's incredible how close it is. You only need to look at that part in the middle of the table there in terms of, you know, teams from 38 points down to 32, all fighting for that, you know, space to get in there for the playoffs. But you know, Elgin City lost today. That was a bit of a surprise that Elgin lost. They were sitting top of the league. They've been on a good run, but East Fife got themselves back to the top. There's been changes at the top a few times.
Queen's Park's got a couple of games in hand as well.
Queen's Park have, Annan have already been top and they've slipped back down. So it's a very tight league.
Yep, it is indeed. In the FA Cup today, there was, well, I wouldn't say a giant killing, but certainly a shock when you can take a Premier League scalp. That's exactly what Reading managed to do, 3-1. Arsenal are going to have to go to a replay, much to the annoyance, no doubt, of Arsene Wenger and Steve Bruce, who's looking to try and get Hull back into the Premier League next season, and they're doing well in the Championship in England at this moment. It was Watford 1, Leeds 0. Latest from Bournemouth, Everton is 0-0, but rather unsavoury incident in the Reading-West Brom match when Chris Brunt has apparently been hit by an object, we think a coin, Ruffy, in that match, and it's never nice to see. And I think the situation where it's his own set of fans makes it even worse.
No, I thought that was a good point you made. You know, maybe it's time now for supporters to think about the bigger picture rather than just individuals and start putting these people forward. If they identify them 100% and they know that's who it was that did it, it'd be a breath of fresh air, you know, to see some supporters doing that and taking the pressure off their club, because they're going to get a lot of bad publicity out of this.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think CCTV cameras, I think, may well help resolve that issue. Certainly don't like to see players or anyone injured from the stands. Now, Queen of the South against Rangers, Macca, how do you see it going?
You know, it was at the start of the season I thought Queen of the South would do a lot better against Rangers, but Rangers sort of run over the top of them, and I don't see any difference tomorrow. I think Rangers, they'll find it tough down there, but I think they'll be too strong for them. I think they'll get the 3 points that they need tomorrow.
Significantly, Gordon, in that match, although the manager will have been talking about the strength in the squad and some of the players will be putting a positive spin on it, some players will look and think you were always looking at Martin Wycorn to pop up with something a wee bit special. Psychologically, it might have something, but I share Macca's viewpoint. They should have enough in reserve.
Well, in fairness, I think his penalty goal in the game on Tuesday night was his first goal in about 5 games. The penalty he actually scored, so he had been off form scoring wise for them. So I think other people have got to take the chance. And Nicky Clark's been signed in. He scored goals at a good level, so he's got to come back in there and now fight for his place and show what he deserves to be there. The 2 players, both King and O'Halloran, weren't available for Tuesday night, and despite the fact they won, so they'll come into the plans as well. O'Halloran can score goals. I think Rangers should win the game, but it's going to be a tough one, I think. I mean, they did win comfortably, as Frank said, 5-1 in August, I think.
I thought
and they tore them apart. But it was a tighter game at Ibrox. They won 2-1 in the game at Ibrox later on, and I think it was December they played. So Queen's South, I think, will give them a hard game.
No problems for your old side, Hibs against Alloa, Ruffy?
I think it'd be an eye-opener if they were to slip up after the Hearts result. I think particularly at home. I think I've got all the players buzzing for that one. I think there'll be a very, very good crowd there, although it's only Alloa. But yeah, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, okay, that's the Championship. I can tell you Bournemouth have got a penalty against Everton and it's just been saved.
Wow.
What a chance. James McCarthy penalised for a handball. Bournemouth had a great chance to get the goal, but in the end a save from the Everton goalkeeper. So all to play for in that FA Cup tie. The magic of the Cup, and of course today it's all been about the magic of the league in Scotland and players who have taken a fair bit of criticism but have managed to bounce back. And Ruffy, the fight's still on for Dundee United.
Yeah, it is. Football players always believe that they can get themselves out of a mess, but it's up to them who've got themselves in the mess to get themselves out of it.
Okay, thanks to Frank McAvenny, Gordon Smith and of course Alan Ruff for joining me, Peter Martin, on the programme. Hopefully you've enjoyed the last 4 hours. Every Saturday 2 till 6 we'll keep you up to date with the football. Join us if you can on Monday night. Our boot-room guest will be Stephen Tweed on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow. The former Hibs central defender will give us his take on his old team and other issues. From everyone here on the Saturday Football Show, thanks for watching.